Now, I don't think you've heard this, Leeroy. This is the 55-year tribute of Still Point to the greatest rock and roll songs, dude. Just folks, we're just gonna open this and let him listen to this because he likes Still Point. We're putting 4 minutes on the clock so we can listen to the whole song. Let's get this shared out, folks. Come on, we can't. Low numbers.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, dude, just wait. It's so good. $63 on. Let's get it shared out to Twitter, folks. Dude, he's such a good player. I mean, the guy can play anything. And Nicky's gotten really good on the drums. I mean, those double kicks that he's doing is just doing smooth. Watch this.
Oh, right into it.
I know, dude. It's such a smooth song. They just crushed this, dude. Little Janesy. Dude, we got the best band on any show. There's no show that can touch our music. There's nobody. There's just you can't name somebody who has a better band than the Don't Unfriend Me show. They're the greatest band in the world. I mean, these guys can do everything, and you don't get copyright struck. You know, it's just like sorry.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Still Point, folks. STIILPOINT. Go over to Spotify shop. force your favorite music over at Apple iTunes, whatever you want. Still Point, STIIL. It's not STILL. It's STIIL. Still Point. We'll be right back in 3 minutes. Stop on by Wimkin, folks. 9 million users. Wimkin.com. Social media. Free speech. Since we listened to a little music, we'll fast forward the intro. Even though it's against my better judgment, I suppose. Yeah.
Howdy, y'all. This is Damani Felder. These are perilous times in American history, and now more than ever, we need individuals who are willing to wage war on the ideological battlefield with like-minded individuals. And I can think of no better place to start than my friends at the Don't Unfriend Me show. So thank you for being here, and enjoy the show.
Damani will be in the house Thursday night. Damani in-house.
Hell yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me show. I am proud to announce that the Documents of Freedom are back in stock. It's a 3-book collection, leather-bound, by Arcadia Publishing. Starts out with the Bill of Rights, and it's the complete edition of the rights, so you can look up and reference anything your heart desires. Declaration of Independence, with revisions and founder images included, beautifully illustrated. And last but not least, what would Documents of Freedom be without the Constitution of the United States of America in its entirety? The box is handmade by PFC Flags, custom engraving, all 100% made in the USA from the nails to the glue. And we have a 5-star rating, satisfaction guaranteed, 150 sold, 5 stars or better.
These will be shipping out on Thursday, Friday, folks. They're almost done. We have a couple of left. If you want to get them, they are shipping out this week and should be in your hand, hopefully by the weekend or Monday, Tuesday at the latest.
Head on over to thedumbshow.com/books. Thanks so much.
What's wrong with my pad? Why isn't my pad working? What?
Everything all right down there, Forrest?
My pad isn't working. This is strange. I don't understand. Not that I really need it, but it's not working. Guess I could do a British accent. Could you do a lot of techno Skrillex type noises for me? No?
I don't even know what that word means.
Okay,
because
so
I'm not smart enough.
It's totally fine. Here's what we'll do. We'll just take the ending of the short videos and play that right now because I feel like I'm going to bust my mojo if I don't do it. So here it is.
To put in his pocket.
Drop it hard.
There it is. I feel better.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel better. That sounds good. Dude, you should see this ending. It's actually kind of cool. This will be their new ending for all of our videos because these shorts that we're doing are just, they're going global. They're insane. So here is the ending to our show when we do these shorts. Real quick. Ready?
Money he can raise off of those dead children to put in his pocket.
Drop it hard.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I didn't know what
We
Skrillex.
look like we're dancing.
Well, yeah, it's an AI thing, and you shove the video into AI, and then it comes back, and that's what it does. How you doing, man? Everything good? How was Chiefs
I'm
week?
tired, but it was awesome. And really, well, all it is it's a chance to, indoctrinate some new peeps, and now they're your brothers, your sisters, that kind of thing. But during that whole week, you're basically hanging around with all your best friends. So
Yeah,
it was really cool.
But still exhausting, though. Yeah,
It is. We got up so early to wake them up on Thursday that it was just ridiculous. Like
what time did you
3
wake up?
a.m. kind of thing.
God.
And they had to go till midnight kind of deal.
Oh Lord, that's horrible.
Oh, it's
that's horrible.
so bad.
That's just
They had
wrong.
fun.
That sounds like Apple and Comcast. We would do that. We'd be up 5 a.m. Breakfast would be at 6. We would start session at 6:45, and we wouldn't be done until 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning for like 3 days. And by the time I'm getting like on hour 72, I remember one time in Philadelphia, that it was for Comcast, and I started to feel myself like, I was like, God, I started to feel sick. And I'm sitting there. So when I get sick, I'm a jerk. I'm always a jerk, but I'm really a jerk when I get sick. So I'm sitting there, and you know, of course they're talking, you know, and the CEO's up there, and so we're gonna go out and we're gonna go hit revenue goal. And I'm like, fuck.
He's sitting in your chair going
and
like this.
That's right. I'm just like, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, F revenue goal. I don't care. God, I'm gonna fire everybody when I get home. I hate these people. And I'm talking to myself out loud, saying these things. And everyone's at the table.
And you're like, just give me a Zycam. God damn it.
Right. Everyone's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, you know what? Mind your own business. And, you know, God, that's being a jerk. And that's the way I was. And you know, but I wasn't feeling. And then, man, oh God, the session was over. And I'm walking in the hall and I'm just like, I need a flower pot. And I just yacked. And I get sick. I get sick. It's the 2 sickest times I've ever been in my life. Well, three. One was in Bali. And I had some shellfish. It's just, oof, it didn't do well with me. And one was in Wilsonville, Oregon, at a Christine Clark, $10.
Christine Clark.
Thank you for the show. Love you all. And I got rookie DM of the year considerations. And about halfway through, I went over to my buddy named Sean Dodd, and I said, dude, I'm going to go yak. And I had the most violent 24-hour. I couldn't get on the plane. I couldn't come home.
No kidding.
And anyone who knows me knows that I don't want to spend another night in a hotel. And so I'm shaking and I'm in bed, and I it's like I'm burning up, sweating, and I feel like it's 60 below. So I'm freezing while I'm burning up. And I just go, Sean, please. You know, he carried me. He Ranger friend, and just, you know, Sean and I had a falling out, but he was still a decent guy sometimes. And puts me in bed, and he goes and buys me all the Gatorade, and he's like, I'm going to go make my flight. What do you want me to stay with you? And I said, no, dude, just get the hell out. It was the worst thing. And then that happened in Philadelphia. So if you and I are ever hanging out, all of a sudden I get kind of,
I'll bear the brunt of that one.
Stay away. Just stay away. Just be like, dude, I'm going home. I'm leaving you alone.
Right.
Listen, lots happen. I mean, we know.
Oh God, yes.
From Christian revival to a memorial that was just one of the most moving things, to the Spear family going to church every Sunday, which is just like, I'm not sure if you're aware of that was taking place, but just a lot of craziness going on, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and go ahead.
When you have these major events like this, and you know, my wife had sent me like the links to everything right after this happened that showed that like his memorial had drawn in more people than MLK, and you know, true, absolutely. This was one of those
different
shocks.
different times though, different time of distribution.
Different tone, different outlook of the crowd, right? But nonetheless, it was emotional shock to the country, and we're all still trying to process it. Yeah. It's basically the gist of it. And so you have just a slew of people who are trying to figure out what this means for them on a personal level, and some that truly don't care, and you know, that's fine. And then you have the really vile people who are absolutely celebrating it. And yeah, one of our listeners, Jen Beverly, she had made a comment on somebody else's page where they were talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and you know, people were celebrating it and everything like that, and it harkened back a little bit for me to the definitions that you and I used to deal with when you're talking about big world terrorism. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you go ahead and look up the actual definition that the U.S. government uses, terrorism is the unlawful use of violence or the threat of violence, often for political, religious, or ideologic reasons, to intimidate, coerce government, civilian population, any subject, blah, 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 blah. If that isn't the absolute perfect definition of everything that just happened, people calling it an assassination, I think that doesn't go far enough.
Is there a difference between homegrown terrorism and, terrorism that's based from theocratic rule, or terrorism that's based upon zealots? Do you think there's a difference, or do you think they should be treated the same? I mean, do we suspend rights? Do we suspend habeas corpus for these people
No.
and slap a terrorist label on them?
No. Here's the thing. Everything's still. Dude was an American citizen, right? Normally when we're talking about terrorism, right, we're talking about forces external to the U.S. and except in the cases of homegrown. And in the case of homegrown, I say that if they're still American citizens, if we're dealing with American citizens, then we absolutely need to stick to our guns, stick to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. These people do, in fact, have every legal right afforded to them, and it needs to be carried out as such.
So you weren't a big fan of Trump declaring Antifa a terrorist organization?
No, that's different. Declaring someone a terrorist organization, right? And let's say you get some Yahoo 18-year-old who, actually did something, actually pulled off some level of violence.
Sure.
All right, they bust him. Cool. That kid still has rights. All the same legal rights. Doesn't matter.
Except for acquisition. So it gives the Department of Justice and the three-letter agencies to wiretap, to acquire information to enhance the capture of that person by all means necessary, which would be the suspension. But once that person's captured, habeas corpus would continue. But his rights can be violated simply because he's declared a terrorist. So that's the thing I figured you wouldn't be happy with,
And I'm not.
Okay.
But at the same time, the dude still has rights. And I think if anything, that just forces the prosecution to up their game to make sure that in cases where the terrorist label has been applied, that they go through with a fine-tooth comb and every microscope known to man to make that case absolutely airtight.
Yeah, it's
It's a rough call, though. I get it.
But I don't know how rough it is. Like, do I think the Proud Boys should be considered a terrorist organization? Sure. If you're going to say that Antifa is a terrorist organization, why wouldn't the Proud Boys be a terrorist organization? Listen, people can say that they don't, J6 just happened. First of all, it wasn't spontaneous. It was a planned event, and there were different groups there, and under the guise of a peaceful rally of celebration and then peaceful protest of 55,000 people, another group inside that subset of about 3,000 people were going to act within felony and misdemeanor range type criminal behavior. And then there was about 150 to 200 that had zip ties and had bags and had every intent to go in and hold hostages. So, and that needs to be talked about. And even though people like to say that J6 was this spontaneous event that it absolutely was not. It may have been for some. There's no doubt. Those 3,000, most of those, it was a very spontaneous event. And that's why I don't believe J6 grandma and other people should be held accountable to that. And they should have been, they had a fine and then left on. The 150 in the staircase should have faced the worst charges and still should be in prison.
Yes.
Yeah, they should still be in prison. 100%. And I don't care what anyone says about that. We're either a nation of laws or we're not. Well, what about BLM? That's whataboutism. They should be in jail too. And I understand, but just because, two wrongs don't make a right, folks. So we're supposed to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
We've talked about this on the show before, but I always felt like the January the 6th crowd, that 70% of those people were just kind of random. Hey, look at this building that's now open. I'm just going to walk through it. I feel like that was a vast majority of the people, and that the actual violence that was occurring, absolutely wrong. And I would also make the case that because there was actual violence happening, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but my honest opinion is those people really can't consider themselves to be conservatives.
No, and that's well, It depends. It depends on like
Right.
what's
There's some
happening.
argument to be had in there, but
Right.
yeah.
In the sense of like, what's the premise, right? What's the premise of it? Because we're all revolutionaries and we're founded on a revolution, and that's where our country is born out of. And, you were considered a terrorist back then. And if they would have failed, the founding fathers and anyone included would have been executed summarily by the English. So, but this J6 wasn't that. J6 wasn't a revolution. So you have to look at the ends to this, right? So what was the goal? What's the end game? You're going to go in there and you're going to take over the House floor, and then all of a sudden the United States government is going to be like,
weapons?
God darn it. We got taken, boys. We got to go home. Let's go ahead and let's hand over the keys to the United States of America to these J6ers. There was no intent to take over the government, but what they did was break into secure areas that said this is secure. Like, listen, if you go and you break into a King Soopers or a Food Mart and you break into the back storeroom before it loads the trucks in the morning and you decide to take 20, full racks of ribeyes, you're going to go to jail. Well, the same thing happens in government secure buildings, especially when it's barricaded by chairs and it's reinforced and it's locked and it's got 3 Capitol policemen and you still try to get in and you can't get the message. Then the guy draws a gun and you still decide to go through that window. Something has to, it's like you don't go and put on and roll yourself in ground beef before you go swimming in the ocean with sharks. At some point, you just got to let stupid people do stupid things.
Right. And that's the big difference, right? The biggest distinction that I can make in my personal worldview, in my personal opinion, that the biggest difference between the January the 6ers and every other form of violence is that I really feel like a lot of that was caught up in the moment of emotion.
Absolutely.
and that there is some element of when you instigate the violence versus just getting emotionally overzealous.
Yeah.
And I think they let that overzealousness and the crowd behind them pushing them forward. I feel like that led them towards bad things.
Oh yeah.
And that the emotional buildup. Oh, look, a locked door. Somebody grabbed that coat rack. Now you're in bad territory.
And you got a situation where, listen, I'm not going to, we've covered this. We've hashed it out.
I'm going to justify it, but
right. But it's still important that we understand there's plenty of blame to go around. And yes, I understand what Antifa is doing. I understand. And I'm saying they should be held accountable too. Listen, here's what I want: more accountability. And now we have a situation in just a few hours. Jimmy Kimmel's going to be back on TV for lying to the national public. And I want to see an apology. There should be a huge one, and not an apology that he said mean things about Charlie Kirk. I don't care about that. Thomas Austin donated 50. It's a fine day in Onslow County. Hope all are well. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Thomas.
I don't think he should be censored for making a joke about Charlie Kirk. I don't care about that in any way, shape, or form. Does it bother me? Does it make me twinge? Does it make me go, oh, how dare he? No, I don't care. I'm a dark humor type of guy. What bothered me is he lied, and he labeled that the assassin was a Trump supporter, and that information can dissuade law enforcement from doing their jobs. It can do a disservice to people who might be jurists on the panel. It can dissuade and create public harm. And people could, pick up pitchforks and torches and say, you know what, let's go get us some Trump supporters, because we already have a crazy liberal who did it. Now you're going to have another crazy liberal who picks up and runs the torch across the line. Mm-hmm. That's what bothers me. And there should be a punishment for this. And I think, honestly, the punishment is going to be is that Sinclair Group has now jumped and said they are not going to cover Jimmy. And and I think Nexstar or whatever it is did it as well. So now you literally have his market, like 33% of all of his listeners. Now he drops below 95K listeners, and that, like, dude, we get 7,000 to 10,000 watching our show, and Jimmy Kimmel's at 95. I mean, I don't imagine he's going to be on much longer.
That's a big part of the problem too. Is that when they started when you heard kind of the counter argument to say, well, this is just the administration and this is politicians censoring, and this
Right,
is now a
right.
war against free speech.
Right.
It's not like Trump came down and said, hey,
Right.
FCC, I want you to go after Jimmy Kimmel
Exactly.
and get him the hell off the air.
Yes,
That
yes.
didn't happen.
That's right.
This is simply the corporate owners, right, of all of the Sinclair, all of the other 8 syndicate stations that are running that program,
Right.
basically saying, we don't like it. We're going to pull this because of either ratings or poor taste.
Right.
That's not censorship.
Are you
That's
saying
just
that
you not being. Go ahead. Sorry.
Democrats lied? What? How? How is that possible? And that just destroys their narrative, doesn't it? I mean, isn't that just the most ridiculous thing?
Right. How could it be censorship if only one of the parent companies is still running it and the others aren't?
And
That's
if
not
it is
censorship.
And if it is censorship, well, that sounds like free market capitalism to me. And if it is censorship, then please tell me, how is he getting back on air? So this is why I always tell you, don't, like my neighbor who I love to death, Mike. Mike comes to me and go, Mike, early Virginia voting is very, very, very good looking for Republicans. The early vote, we're doing exactly what we did in 2024. We're going early, which is a good thing, because any down casting on the voting on election day from people who are too old or whatever, because we are an aging party,
Right.
it doesn't matter because we're early voting. So it's very reminiscent of 2024. So for everyone out there, just to let you know, Virginia looks good, and so does New Jersey. New Jersey looks very good too. I've been watching these things, and I'm not going to start talking about it until October. October 1st to 7th, that's when I start getting into it, and we'll start laying out some predictions and tell you what's going to happen, as we always do. But right now, it looks very good in Virginia. And of course, Spanberger and her, crazy DNC bankrupted party are like, no, it's over. Just give up. And I'm like, no, because this looks good. My point is the Charlie Kirk effect is in full swing.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that having 150,000 people at an event in Phoenix, then having over 2 million people simulcast and watch this, and then have, out of those 2 million people, almost 750,000 of them came back and watched another piece of it in a considerable amount of time, which is 15 to 30 minutes long, again, means that not only did they have something that they found to be profound, they had to go back and listen to it again, either to be re-inspired or clarify the feeling that they had to make sure it was genuine. That is not a party that's dying. That's a party that's flourishing, a party that's growing, a party that's expanding. And this is what Democrats don't want. They don't want a Christian revival in the United States, because when you activate Christianity in our country, you get people involved in politics because they're synonymous with each other, because the pulpit won't preach the politics, and you won't get it from the parishioners to the parish, to the pastor in the pews. You get it when you go home and consume, and then you go and you pray on it and think about it. But people covet their religion. They covet their God. And if you start overextending government reach, this is where Christians will activate. And not only that, but then you got gun owners, free speech enthusiasts. This is what they don't want. And if we get back to numbers that we saw when we had 93% of this country believe that there was some form of afterlife and believed in some form of organized religion, drop to 71%, which it just 73%, which it just did, and now is skyrocketing back up. Bible sales are up. New members inside churches is just going absolutely batshit crazy. If you can even get that to 83, 84%, the Democratic Party is going to explode. And last part is because the amount of people who have left since 2016 to 2024, 9 million. Those are liberals, registered Democrats, and moderates who have moved from that over to the conservative side and are now either registered as Republican or lean right. 9 million. You have no
is
idea what that means.
Not a small number. Yeah.
And the reason why it's not a small number, and then I'm done and I'm gonna let you go here, sorry, is if 0 is the algebraic equation of 0, and negative is to the left and positive is to the right, if the Democrats lose 9 million and the Republicans gain 9 million, it's twice the delta. It's like a home and home win in sports. You're playing against your rival and you're both playing for first and second place, and you play 2 games, one in theirs and one in yours, and you win both. It's not a 4-point game. It's an 8-point game because they lost 4 and you gained 4. So that lead is whoosh, double. That's what's happening. And Republicans are amassing a very large road game. Pennsylvania looks completely in play from all gubernatorial, mayoral seats and legislation. Virginia looks good. New Hampshire looks good. New Jersey looks good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive out there. Leeroy, I'm sorry I took a long time, but I wanted to connect the dots there. Go ahead.
No, and I'm glad you did. When we talk about the lead that Matt was just describing, a lot of people would see that as a positive. I do too, but I only see it as a positive. A lot of people, would say, which would you rather have, a 18 million vote lead or Charlie Kirk back? And I definitely want Charlie Kirk back. That being said, this event has acted as a lightning rod to push people to really start questioning what it means to have free speech, what it means to be able to express your ideas and see violence here in the United States over a guy who just wanted to talk. The guy just wanted to have a debate, and if you disagreed with him, you got to go to the front of the line to express your view.
Right.
Right?
You got the spot at the table.
Right. And so when we think about what it means to lack that, to lack free speech, what did it mean in other countries? Right. What did that look like? The KGB would come by your place of work and say, no, you can't say that. We're going to arrest you now. The brown shirts in Germany would say, no, you're not saying that. And so what the campus protests were all about really was campus protests were about protesting ideas that you disagreed with. That's what they were about. And instead of protesting, they just, they could have come up with better debating. They could have made better arguments to Charlie, but they couldn't do that. And when they couldn't beat him,
like it's such a really good point, and it's like sometimes I wish that you were here so we could do that side by side video and get it where it needs to be, because there's something that needs to be said, is that Democrats didn't kill Charlie Kirk because of what he said. And I know I said earlier that they shut him up because they couldn't beat him. That's also true. That video went viral, by the way. 42 million people have seen that viral in the Don't Unfriend Me show. I don't know if you've seen the numbers.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, dude. We're like growing. It's ridiculous. But this is
I have a question.
Okay, can I finish this thought real quick?
Yeah.
The reason why we know they killed him because they couldn't beat him, but let me tell you why they did it so easily. Is because they don't have anyone to idolize. They don't have anybody worth being a martyr.
It's the state.
They just don't have anyone worth to I said this to Olivia. I said, the reason, even if we were inclined to hurt somebody, they don't have anyone worth killing. I'm sorry to say that's horrible, but that's the truth. There's nobody. Kamala Harris, she's horrible. Did you see her on her book tour? And I don't want anyone hurt. I don't want anyone hurt. No way. We don't do that. But yes. But I'm saying they don't have anyone worth killing. Like, there's nobody who's a threat to us. Pete Buttigieg, are you fucking fudging? Sorry, I'm trying. Pastor, I apologize. Pastor Jack, apologize. But that's like the worst insult I can give you, without saying that we would want anyone to. There's nobody. And that also means that they have nobody to model themselves after. They have no one to idolize. They have no one to go ahead and sculpt how they move and breathe and think within inside the party policy. And if nobody is leading the party, then they're going to look outside the party for answers. And what they're finding is a lot of them are going, I love the answer. I'm now Jesus curious, or I'm Constitution curious, or I'm conservative curious. And there's other people that are like, I have to kill that.
Yeah.
Because that is
'Cause
dangerous.
I can't beat it. Yep.
That's it. That's why he died.
And when you said the Democrats did this, I would challenge you a little bit. Was it the Democrats or was it the far left?
It's the
I know
Democrats.
that some of that, there's some level of overlap in there.
Yeah. Can I tell you why it's the Democrats?
Why?
Do we own J6? You and me?
No,
Yes, we do. Of course we do.
I wasn't there.
But that doesn't mean you're not complicit if you don't say anything. The moment that we don't,
I have said stuff.
I understand that, but that's why we said stuff, because we'd be complicit. So the moment that if something happens in the Navy, it affects all Navy men and women. Of course it does, because we're a team, we're a unit. Well, conservatives are the same thing. And when somebody in our party does something absolutely horrendous, it's our job to call it out. And we have to. Not just because we have a platform, but even if we didn't, we would call it out on our Facebook. We would call it around the water cooler. We would say, I admonish this behavior. This is ridiculous. I'm ashamed to be a Trump supporter when J6 happened. And everybody should have been. Great. Then I'm not hearing that from Democrats. I'm not hearing that from anybody. They won't sign a bill that recognizes that he and political assassinations are wrong. They go on their talk shows, they go on their weekend shows, and they disparage Charlie Kirk as a racist and a homophobe and a transphobe, which is the furthest effing thing from the truth.
I'm wondering if that's not the far left, though.
It's not the far.
Or is it?
Do
Or
you
is this
consider
Democrat politicians?
is Nancy Pelosi far left? Is Chuck Schumer far left? Is Hakeem Jeffries far left?
No, they're
is
kind
Cory
of
Booker far
moderate
left? They're the left. They're Democrats. They're all Democrats, and all of them are saying the same thing. And I not only blame those people, of course I blame the media, but I blame the people who are registered for that party. And I see every day thousands, listen when I say this, because now we just got 1.5 million interactions last week. That's not people who just see the video. Interactions, which means they leave a comment or a like. 500,000 is like untouchable
Big
on
number.
Facebook. To get 500,000 is incredible. To get 1.5 million is superstardom on Facebook. You're in the top, not the top 1%, you're in the top 0.01% of all pages if you're getting 1.5 million interactions. That's where we were. 72 million people visited our site last week. 72 million unique IPs. And out of those, 70% were followers. Excuse me, scratch that. 70% were non-followers, 30% were organic followers, which means that 70% people had never seen us before and were following our page. The point I'm trying to make is I'm done differentiating between liberals, Democrats, and the left. I can't anymore. Because it's just like I couldn't differentiate the Tea Party and the religious zealots of Michelle Bachmann and Trey Gowdy and Jason Chaffetz and those guys when it came to 2014. And I abandoned the Republican Party because I couldn't stand it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't differentiate the two because they are all literally saying the same stuff that doesn't make sense. And it's completely evil and it's off. Late-term abortions? Men in women's bathrooms? I don't understand any of these things. And then they take it to the next level where they say, you know, Charlie Kirk's memorial is a Nazi Klan rally. They said that it was like Goebbels up there. And I'm like, how can you say that? How can you allow people to say that about your fellow Americans? They are the most vile and putrid people that I've ever come across, dude, because I don't treat people that way. I don't say things to people that way. I don't do that.
Yeah.
How can they? And I am one of the most foul-mouthed, disrespectful turds that exist. And I would never call someone a Nazi. I would never call someone a homophobic or transphobic or racist or a stupid hick because I believe in God. I would never, ever. And I know I look like Farmer Ted today. So whatever.
I guess my defense to that, and again, I'm going to push back, but I am going to say that
push it.
that if there are people that were advocating for that, then by definition, they're not moderate, right? But I have heard moderates. I have seen interactions with people on Facebook and some of the other videos where even people on the moderate Democrats were like, that was wrong. I didn't like him, but that was wrong.
It was wrong, but that's what they say. They don't say it was wrong. I haven't seen one person's. I bet I can go to Facebook. I can search everything posted on my page, and I'm going to go, it was wrong, period. I will search that. I bet that doesn't come up once. It was wrong, but, which basically is everything you say that precedes the comma means that you're discrediting.
About face.
You're just discrediting what you were saying. I was wrong. It's like, I'm sorry, but. Wait a second. I'm sorry is a full sentence. So is I was wrong. Or it was wrong. How about this? How about I am so sorry that someone important to you died. That sucks. I don't care what their party politics. That's horrible. And if you need anything, let me know. We don't do that.
No, and we should.
But we don't. And there's only one party that does it, because let me tell you what, when Joe Biden got cancer, you didn't see this stuff. You just didn't. I'm sorry. Yeah, you got some of the groypers in there or some of the idiot tards. That's a given. We're
That's
talking
the far right numbnuts.
Right, but it's just idiots. It's just people who are trolls who want to get clicks. But when he got cancer, the thing that I saw on all news stations, nobody was like, it's about time, or it's not soon enough. You know what they say?
That's wrong.
They're just like, that's horrible, and I don't want any harm to come to him. I don't like his politics. I don't like him. But then they go into these. Listen, the but is after. So it's not, I'm sorry, but, or it was wrong, but it is, I would never wish that on him. I don't want to have ill will towards him, but I don't like his politics, and it's not me apologizing for who he is as a person. That's different.
Mm-hmm. Most of the shitty comments that I had seen once Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis was out there wasn't with regard to whether or not he had cancer or not. It was the fact that there was a potential cover-up to say, oh, well, if they knew that he wasn't going to make it 4 years, right, then why is this just now coming out? Right. That was the concern, was that there was a potential cover up. In other words, there was lying that was taking place, not necessarily that he had cancer. Nobody wanted Joe Biden to have a slow, painful. No, that's bad.
No,
don't do that.
We didn't even see that with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. People were like I posted a meme or something. No, I posted a meme or something that I don't remember what it was. I think what I said is, I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have retired, because now you're going to get a Republican. But that's commentary. That's news. That's not me being insensitive.
Right.
That's me removing the insensitivity to it and getting right to business. But some people might find that callow, and I'll take that. That's whatever. It's callow. I don't care. But it's not purposely malicious and sadistic. It's not.
Right.
It doesn't turn you into a demon.
Right.
This is listen to Damani.
Going, oh, it's about damn time.
Right. Go listen to Damani. Homeboy's changed his tune. He's now saying, I will not have unity with demons.
Yeah, I've seen that.
We're both in the same spot. Like, I'm not black-pilled. I believe Democrats can find their way out of this, but this is not my responsibility to help them. It's to stop them. That's my job. My job is to stop them cold and ensure that they never see public office again until they figure their way out of this mess. But what they need to do is they need to castigate people out of their party and lose power by removing the cancer inside their party.
Yes.
They won't do it, though.
That cancer is far leftism.
Yes, but they won't do that. They can't.
Well, how do you? Look at the policies for which they're trying to float forward, right? Matt and I have covered this on the show before. The big ticket items are things like high taxes, Second Amendment, abortion, economy, right? Crime. Those are all, when you go far enough left, those are items that are absolutely revered. They want ultimate control over your guns. They want stupidly high taxes, right? They want a huge state to rule over your life. They want you to have late-term abortion available, right? They want open borders, and, they don't really give a shit about the economy. That's just a talking point to them. right? At least if we go far enough to the right, then you end up in the situation where, oh, you mean I'm in control of my own finances in my house? That's great. Lower my taxes? Better yet,
Right.
right? I think of killing babies. Yeah, that's wrong. That's what separates us. And if the Democrats can get, to Matt's point, get rid of some of that and try and move back to the middle, and I don't know how they do it without some huge act of contrition towards the U.S. public. But if they can do that, maybe they can save some face. I don't know.
The last thing before we start getting into some topics and open it up to phone calls is, listen, this is the only thing that defines us now. It used to be taxes. It used to be big government. It used to be border security. It used to be criminality. All of these things. That's not it anymore. And it's not about God. It's not about guns. It's none of those things. This is it. And there's only, I've told you, don't break down the hierarchy of what's important, because people's political, like Charlie Kirk, I said this before Charlie Kirk. I'm just letting you know. I've been saying this for a long time, but Charlie Kirk said this too, which is, I'm going to rate a person not on their political ideology, because that means nothing to me. That's like the color of shoes you wear. I've been saying that for 5 years. And Charlie started saying that a few years ago. And I'm not saying he took something that I said. I'm just letting you know that great minds think alike. And I've been making those points. And one of these days, hopefully I get quoted. That'd be nice. Because there's some things that Leeroy and I both have said on this show that have been pretty profound. But here's the thing. It's no longer about the hierarchy on K.P. Kafka's class, phylum, kingdom, order, species, genus, etc. Political stance is way down here. It's not even close to where family is and God and your overall disposition on life, or if you're a jerk or not, or a good person. But something that is right up there now with good person, which is a very high standard, if you're good or bad, evil, whatever, are these two beliefs. Either you're a globalist or you're a nationalist. And that is the difference between the Democrat and the Republican Party now. They want globalism and all that comes with it, from climate change to social order to literally, whether you believe this or not, the replacement theory, which is open borders. Now, it's an ancillary benefit to their party to replace it with people who are going to be their voters. Do I believe they're trying to replace white people? No, but they are trying to de-homogenize the country. And they're trying to replace it with people who are easier to control. And the truth is the truth, because it's happening all over the world, and that's how you know it's true. People go, oh, the replacement theory is a lie. No, it's not, because it's happening in Europe right now. Europe is going to fall in the next 10 to 15 years. Look where Italy is at. Look where France is at. Look where England's at. We're going to show you videos tonight of them arresting people who simply say, I am Jewish. The Democrats want you to believe that the United States is the Third Reich. And I'm telling you, there's places in the world right now that are doing Third Reich things. And it's not us. We're trying to stop that behave. We're trying to stop those behaviors. All right, we got a caller. Listen, when you guys call in, there's going to be times where we're on a rant and it's too good. We're not going to be able to stop. Caller, where are you from? What's your name?
Oh, I know. Do you recognize this voice?
Yeah, I think I do, but just give me the name.
Who's this?
It's Lawrence. Hi there.
All right, Lawrence, what's up, buddy?
No, I wanted you to continue that rant. It's a good rant.
Go ahead.
Thank you for sharing that.
Keep going.
No, what?
Well, first of all, Lawrence, let me set you up right. Leeroy, you know Lawrence. Lawrence has been calling in for years, and Lawrence, mini groiper, but would call in and mask his voice and pretend he was someone else and kind of troll us a little. But he's had had a pretty big awakening, and had some comments about Nick, and then really was shook about Charlie Kirk. I mean, it shook him to the core. I heard the episode. I heard it in his voice, and really value what he's bringing to the table. So I'm also going to play the Nick and the PPD podcast today, which was just incredible. And some stuff that Nick said that was just off the charts good. And I told you he had to sit with PPD, and he did. And honestly, there was a lot of good that came out of that interview. Lawrence, go ahead. What are you calling in for?
Hello. How you guys doing?
Good, buddy.
First of all, might as well, just checking on the boys in a second.
Doing good, man.
I don't know if you guys have like for real shit to talk about tonight. Like, I don't want to interrupt the show.
No, just take a couple of minutes and give us your thoughts, and then we'll jump.
What's on your mind, man?
Yeah, we'll jump if we need to.
All right, I have two things. One is a bit hyperbolic, but it is a serious question for both of you.
Okay.
Because I've had your stream on for a minute. I've just been watching, just enjoying what you're talking about, listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First of all, I very much understand that tensions are high. Tensions are quite high, with a lot of hyperbole being stated. Do you genuinely, in your heart of hearts, believe that every single person in the Democratic Party is this level of globalist? Because I'm sure some of them most definitely do. I mean, you said something earlier that you can't differentiate between leftists, liberals, and Democrats anymore.
Yep.
You're going to you want to put them all in the same category.
No. I want to clarify. I want to clarify what.
Please do, because I was very confused. I've never heard you say something so.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. Listen, and it's a dangerous thing. In fact, I've made my entire career off of saying that there are good people in the Democratic Party, and there are.
Yeah.
The point is the issue that I take is that there is an absolute turning point, and I'm not trying to use it because it's a bullet sizzle word.
Sure.
But there is a turning point in this country, and it's either you are pro-American or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democratic Party stands for nothing. The only thing they do, and I'm going to ask you one question right back, and I think I'll get you on my side on this, is they stand for nothing, which means if you stand for nothing, you're susceptible to everything.
Correct.
And
I do like that quote.
So they are susceptible to all the worst things in the world because they don't have principle and they don't have leadership. And to me, a rudderless ship is going to run aground at some point. And the reason why that has to be navigated and steered immediately, and steerage needs to be reinstated, is because half of America will go down with it. And the United States cannot have half of our population be obsolete because America will then fail. So if you're a nationalist and you love our country, this is a choice right now where you either have to say, you know what, Democrats, we're going to remove ourselves from the equation. We're not going to jump to the Republicans. We're just simply not going to vote. Do what the blacks did, which they said, we're not showing up for you. And the reason why we're not showing up for you is for 75 years, you've kept us in these modern day slave plantations. So a decision needs to be made. And I'm not saying that every Democrat is bad. I'm saying that every Democrat that stays silent and continues to allow this cycle to happen is complicit. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you. I get that.
Lawrence,
that makes a lot more sense to me.
Go ahead.
Lawrence, for me, it's a matter of when we start talking about globalists versus nationalists, I think too many people on the right don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of nationalism, but what they do recognize is that the United States is the engine, the economic engine for the rest of the world, that we have just certain things baked into our system that allows for our system to be so much stronger just based off of our geography and the idea of privately owned things. Like we have some level of private ownership that just simply don't exist throughout the rest of the world. Combine that with, one of the biggest chunks of arable land in the middle of the country and the largest number of waterways, navigable waterways, anywhere on the planet, that gives us an economic advantage that the rest of the world just simply can't enjoy. So we will always be,
sir. I wouldn't have it any other way.
We will always be to some level economically advantaged. And to leverage that doesn't mean that we're nationalistic. We're just smart.
I'm nationalistic. I'm nationalistic. I'm a nationalist, first and foremost. Like before being a conservative.
You're a nationalist.
Yeah.
Do you mean more so that you're willing to go down with the ship? Like, hypothetically, like you're willing to do what it takes to keep this country afloat, or you're willing to do what it takes to keep this country afloat in this, to go back? Because obviously conservative means, like semantics form of conservative.
Sure.
So like, would you rather it because a lot of like nationalistic ideas comes from just like hyper patriotism of like the best days are behind us. We need to go back to what the other generations had. You know what I mean? 'Cause today sucks,
But
and
that's not
back
the
then was
definition of
better.
nationalism, though, brother.
No, no, but I'm saying that a lot of it, you have to agree that a lot of
a lot of
common
people.
like hyper patriotic sentiment is
Yep.
just saying that
Yep.
we're bad now and we were better then. So let's
A lot of people are confused with what Christian nationalism is. The truth of the matter is, and by the way, somebody said, no, it's happening in white nations only. No, it's not. It's happening in Mogadishu. It's happening in Syria. It's happening in Kenya. It's happening in China with the slaughtering of the Christians and Uyghurs. It's happening. It's happening in. You're seeing it right now in people leaving Gaza and flooding into Egypt. This is not just a white problem. It's just now we're noticing it because it's become a white problem over the last 10 years. Mass immigration is. I wasn't talking to you, man. I was talking to one of our commenters, Bobby. But so I want people to understand is that immigration is unfortunately countries diluting the rest of the countries with their problems because they can't self-sustain and solve their own problems because they have a lack of leadership, a lack of infrastructure, a lack of vision, or their people keep leaving their country because it's a shithole and deporting their top 2% of their talent to other places, which means that they will constantly live in mediocrity. And this is what we're seeing. So these mass exoduses don't help. Real quick, Christian nationalism. Christian nationalism, our country is founded on Christianity. It doesn't mean that everyone needs to be a Christian. No, it just means that the Christian belief structure of our founding fathers, which 93% of our founding fathers believed in Christ, believed in Christianity.
Yes.
The reason why they did is because they rooted the fundamental rights were given to you by God, not the government. And
Correct.
That's why Christian nationalism is so important, because it's the only religion that's built off love. And the love that Christianity provides is protected by the God-given rights that we all have, endowed by the Creator, that is guaranteed to us in the Constitution of the United States, the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, which are synonymous with each other, and also the Federalist Papers, if you want to go ahead and read those. But the point I'm trying to make is
I have a little copy of them, actually.
Everything. And when someone says, well, I want to be able to practice my religion, then you should be all about Christian nationalism because you've been living under it your entire life. And so were your parents, and so were your grandparents, but we're moving away from it. And it's not the separation of church and state. We're not saying that everything needs to be Christian law. Those are already in place. What we're saying is that it should be nation first, in the best interest of the United States, and whatever is in the best interest of the United States. And it should be through Christian fundamentals, because it's the only religion that has a set of code of law inside of it that teaches people how to be better human beings. There's no other religion on the planet that does that like Christianity, and that's why we've been persecuted, because it usurps the power from the elitists and gives it to the people.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Because I'm down with what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with everything you're saying, but I very much understand your perspective, and I can't change that. That's fine. You're not hurting anybody. I know you're not hurting anybody. But I guess coming from me, maybe this sounds a little fuck it, whatever. Saying a lot of ums and ahs today. I can't get the words out. Apologies, boys.
It's fine.
Basically,
Go
what
ahead.
I'm saying is what happens.
Take your time, man.
Okay, so like, the thing that gets me, the thing that really bothers me about, and trust me, I'm for religion, bro. Most of my friends are religious. Most of my friends are conservative, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of the odd man out when it comes to that shit. And I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me. That's our country. That's why we're here. I'm allowed to disagree with you. You're allowed to disagree with me. Who gives a shit? I'm fine with that. What I am not fine with, unfortunately, is a lot of them, and I'm seeing this, and once again, I'm not a big fan of anecdotal stuff, but because obviously, I mean, it doesn't mean much.
Lawrence, it's cool. Get there for me. Let's ask you a question. I want to hear it.
Show me the baby, man. Don't tell me about the labor pains.
My very Christian friends are becoming like way more fucking homophobic, but not even like live your life. I just don't agree. It's not a sin, but like for real, like, did you see the guy that got beat? Like, haha, lols in the chat. Like, it's becoming serious.
That's not, but they're not Christians then.
Right.
So you can't
and
label.
I understand that, but you understand that. But I want to propose a question to you.
Okay, go ahead.
That sect of Christianity for young people is very much well and alive. Not even just with my friends. I did a thing. So once again, this is anecdotal, but I just want to say, I don't know how much, I don't know. After the Charlie Kirk thing, which once again, I'm still very much for everything that I said to you that day. It's horrible. I can't celebrate that. You know what I'm saying. What
Right.
I did was I started going into these. I kept seeing some. I started watching a lot of like conservative news, conservative like talking. What do you call them?
Yeah, I got it. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? I got more into that sector just to see because I wanted to get out of the echo chamber.
Mhm.
And I saw, honestly, like I went to the most woke liberal parts of Twitter. I went to the most radically right parts of Twitter, like and Reddit and all of these places that I keep seeing. Unfortunately, a lot of older people on like cable television telling their
Sure.
viewers that your kids are in this and they're this ruining their lives, the woke mind virus, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I went to these spaces. I saw so many more. And once again, this is anecdotal.
So many
but
more
from
what?
my perspective.
Yeah, Lawrence, I don't understand. Listen, we got to get to the. I want you to do me a favor. I want you. You don't have to explain it to me. Just tell me
All right,
what
fair
you're
enough.
trying to
What
say.
I saw,
I'm a
what I
real
saw,
smart
point
guy.
blank period. I saw many more comments about retribution, retaliation. If they're coming for us, we're coming
Yep,
for them.
that's
If they
anecdotal.
want to take our guns, we're going to come for them.
It's
If they're
anecdotal.
against
It's
Christianity,
anecdotal.
we need to go against.
Lawrence, it doesn't
No, I
matter.
understand that.
That's not the collective whole. Listen to me, Lawrence.
I
The
know.
I would
difference.
also say that
I
that's
have-
also
I
not
do
the
have a
far
broad-
right.
Yeah, you got to listen to me, man. That's not okay. That's not what we're talking about here. There are
But I have a
going.
broader. My point is that if you're going to, and I really don't mean to be a dick, if you're going to justify a whole demonization of an entire, I mean, basically half of this country based on some of these incidents, I don't understand why so many people
That's
find it
not
absurd that younger
dehumanizing.
people-
That I'm not dehumanizing anyone. I'm calling for the ceasing of dehumanizing people for political rhetoric. I am
Sorry, I get what you're
saying
saying.
no. You don't hear what I'm saying.
Maybe
Because
not. Okay,
what
fair
you're
enough. Go for it.
accusing me of what I am saying is happening and saying you try. This is what liberals do. No offense, Lawrence, but this is what liberals do.
Well,
They
I'm
go,
listening.
because you're trying to stop me from doing this, you're a fascist. And I'm like, wait a second. The guy right here in chat just said you're a Christo-fascist. First of all, he doesn't know what Christo-fascism
fuck
is
him. He's a
because there's no
dumbass.
such thing
You're
as
not
there is no such thing as a Christo-fascist, because what people don't seem to understand is we already are founded on Christianity and all of our laws are based on them, and we have freedom of religion. We're saying we need to protect those things at all cost. Fascism does not endure freedom. Fascism removes freedom, and there's only one party that's trying to do that. It's
I would
not
also-
that it's given
Republicans.
full, complete
I would-
complete control, though. If
It's-
Donald Trump and this administration to control, no checks and balances, nothing. Do you think that the utopia that you think would be created?
There's no utopia.
Genuine.
That's the lie. There is
That's
no
the-
equity.
That's the lie.
That's the lie, dude. There is no.
And-
Go ahead, Leeroy.
real-
Go.
Real quick, Lawrence, I would also submit to you that I know that
I didn't
you
mean to
said
get combative. I'm sorry.
No, Lawrence, you're not combative. This is a great
Hold on.
conversation. We're happy. Relax.
Okay,
Leeroy, my job is to take care
of
of the guests. Don't tell me to come on. Wait. You're not doing anything wrong, Lawrence. This is why we have the show, is for people like you. And I will take the entire 2 hours to have this conversation because this is where it's at. Nobody's combative. You're good.
Sounds good.
Leeroy, go ahead.
All right, wonderful. Yes,
My
please do.
point was Lawrence, that if you're seeing those comments coming out of what you perceive to be far right, just because you see them in specific rooms or whatnot, if those people are advocating for violence, or if those people are advocating for something that is anything other than peaceful Christianity, conservatism, then they are not that. They are not far right. Then they are somewhere in the middle. That's the point.
No,
Is that yes?
Let Leeroy finish. Go ahead,
That's
Leeroy.
where we're going to disagree.
But
man.
absolutely 1,000%, then those people are not by definition conservatives.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
Then why would they say they are? I guess that's my question. Because they're going to be a part
They're
of the
just
party. I guess
confused.
no, that was my original point.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I
Okay.
spent way too long trying to get there. My
That's
original point is that at the end of the day, these are football teams at this point. Fuck it. I mean, like, it's completely arbitrary what we call a Democrat, Republican, who gives a shit. My thing is that regardless of if you're saying those aren't real Christians, don't use them as evidence, they're going to be a part of your party. They're going to be a part of the clapping and cheering that happens if
Sure.
all of these things go right.
Right.
And that
Okay.
bothers me because while I know your idea of Christian nationalism is nice and kind, and I very much agree with it, I have no problem with that. These people who you guys, no offense, tend to brush off as like, oh, they're not really on our side. They're not actually doing what I think. They're going to be cheering alongside you.
Who?
And that bothers me.
Whom?
No.
These
Whom?
fucking okay. I don't know. How often are you on Twitter? You see those like
I'm
the
on
fucking,
Twitter.
like,
I'm on
Groyper
Twitter every
accounts?
single day.
Okay, word. But you see, the young people using young people lingo with the fucking dog in their profile
Lawrence,
picture
yes,
and
I
all
do.
that shit.
Lawrence, I know who the Groypers are. I know who white nationalists are.
Regardless of if you agree with them, they're the ones that are cheering you on.
No,
and
they're
that
not
does
cheering us
kinda
on.
bother
No,
me.
no, they're not. No, they're not. Groypers.
Do you think they'd be happier with a liberal government?
Would you please let me answer the question? They are turning against Trump. Nick Fuentes has been railing against Trump for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
He considers him a traitor to what he promised he was going to do. He thinks he's sold by the Jews and sold by Israel, and he's owned by them. The Groypers have done complete 180 but they were never a part of our party, ever.
Correct.
They were simply, just like the KKK, even though the Democrats founded them, the 700,000 Klan members that walked and marched in Chicago weren't Democrats because their ideology does not align with your party. They can say whatever they want, bro. Somebody can walk up to your doorstep right now and say, hey, Lawrence is my best friend and he wants to kill people with me. And you're going to be like, what? No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Okay, but so let me finish this. So the difference is you're muddling Christian nationalism with white Christian nationalism, which is what liberals do by changing words. Yep. They have changed Christian nationalism into something evil. So let me go ahead and ask you this question real quick. Yeah. Our government, the United States, is founded on what?
On what? Oh, is that it?
Yep, it's up to your interpretation. The United States was founded on what principle?
I would say, in one sentence,
yes.
I'd say Enlightenment/Christianity ideals.
I'll say something better. All men are created equal. That's what we were founded on.
Yes.
What makes all men create? How do we make them equal? What is something that we have that makes all men equal?
It's in our Constitution.
That's correct.
I don't know. I guess
no, you're answering the question correctly. So let me just walk you down the path. Where did we find those moral fundamentals that are established? Leeroy, I'm going to give it to you right now. What were the fundamental moral values where did we find those to establish and protect what our country was founded on in the Constitution?
That would be the New Testament.
That's
baby.
it. That's the end of the story. We are Christian nationalists.
But, and I'm with you on that. You are the perfect kind of Christian nationalist. You respect other people. You're fine with them having a different opinion. I very much respect the shit out of you as well, Leeroy. You guys are some good boys. I like watching your show. Don't agree with everything you're saying, but I absolutely adore hearing what you guys have to say.
Right.
I think I can convince you of something, Lawrence.
Well, hold on. Let him get his. I know.
But I just want to say, but also. And I know this isn't necessarily supposed to be a gotcha. I just want to hear your opinion on this because if I'm supposed to, and I agree with you, we did a pretty good fucking job. We did a pretty solid job using Christianity as a backbone. We also used Christianity as an excuse for manifest destiny, which wasn't so good.
Did you say manifest destiny?
Well, I mean,
no. Is that what you just said? Listen, you cut out. Did you say manifest destiny?
I did say manifest destiny.
Who was responsible for the implementation of the Great Society and manifest destiny? Can you tell me who? And can you just tell me what political party they were in? Tell me what political party they were in.
Democrat. Oh, come on now. Are we talking political party switch?
No, because there wasn't a political party switch, and so Leeroy's got his time. Go ahead, Leeroy.
I need to make a quick point because I think I can convince Lawrence of something. Okay,
I gotta go.
Hold on, buddy. When we're talking about Nick Fuentes and we're talking about the Groypers and we're talking about whether or not the people that are on the far right saying these hateful things are actually are they our brethren just because they say they are? Let me ask you something. Matt just actually made an amazing point. If all men are created equal, then that is about as far right-leaning an idea as you can get, right? Not a week ago, I saw Nick Fuentes on video actually saying that he was anti-Israel, for one, and later on, when he was talking about the girl on the subway who got stabbed in the neck, he actually made the point that he was anti-black. Does that sound like someone who would agree that all men are created equal?
No, it does not.
Boom.
So
That's
but
why
I-
Nick.
I-
That's
but
why
wait,
Nick
what- so your
Fuentes
point
is
is
not.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
That
You're
is
right.
not
And I get-
why
okay, I
Nick
feel it,
Fuentes is
yeah.
on the right. Then Nick Fuentes doesn't know it, but he's actually in the left.
Okay. What Lawrence is saying is
So,
that
but
those
then every
people.
other left-leaning person that hates
Yes.
him, what, we're just wrong? Or we're
No,
contradicting ourselves? I guess
Lawrence,
that's
you're
what I'm
not. I know what you're saying. What Lawrence is saying is it's guilty by association. And because they claim
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm
Oh,
saying it's
that's what you
guilty
said.
by supportive association.
we're
It's
not
just because of
supporting
Twitter
them.
posts.
How are Republicans supporting Nick Fuentes? Help me understand.
No, Nick Fuentes is supporting Republicans. Joe Rogan's
He's
supporting
not.
Republicans.
Joe Rogan's
all of these
Joe
people.
Rogan's not alt-right. He's not fascist. What are you talking
No,
about?
I don't think he's.
No, he's
but
down
do you
the
think
middle.
that he contributed to? Do you think that his population of young, pretty fucking far right, America first, we gotta get rid of all the bad boys? Do you think that he contributed to the win of Donald Trump in the election?
Of course, he helped contribute to Donald Trump winning the election, but
Like
that doesn't mean.
his young audience tends to be a lot more aligned with the Nick Fuentes crowd than the very nice Christian crowd.
I'm not a very
And
nice
unfortunately,
Christian.
you're wrapped up with him right now, and it bothers.
I just
it
started going to
bothers me
church
that-
45 days ago. I mean, I'm working on it, but I think what you're
No, you're doing
misunderstanding
great.
is that
No, I'm not making
is-
fun of you for that.
is that this is a fringe part. Okay, you're focused on a very small portion of the population of the United
Yeah, but
States.
I'm a registered Democrat, and I'm also not a socialist. I also hate Israel. I also hate globalism. I also think the
You
border
also
should be shut. I don't that
think the party switch happened, Lawrence,
That
and
didn't happen.
it kind of did. Come on.
No,
We
no,
can- we
Lawrence,
can admit
no,
it was
no,
a little bit.
Lawrence,
The
it
Democratic
did-
Southern- the
No,
Southern- the Southern
Lawrence, it
strategy was
didn't.
the thing, brother.
no, the Southern stretch. You're absolutely 100% wrong.
Correct.
Okay, I guess I'll look into it more.
No, look into it with me, and let's do that the next time you call, because I promise you, if you give me 30 minutes, I will disprove, and I will put the mouse away. I won't touch a computer. I will give you percentages. I'll give you states. I'll tell you the voting record of all 13 Southern states. I'll tell you the civil rights split. I will tell you Strom Thurmond. I'll tell you George Wallace. I will tell you everything you want to know, and we can go back to the Confederacy
Sure.
and the Daughters of the Confederacy. There was no party switch. Ever.
No, there
All right,
wasn't.
and I would love to hear it, but okay, my next question, once again.
One more, and then we got to go.
A young person, prefrontal cortex is not fully grown, but I will say this. So the whole party switch thing is kind of bullshit semantics anyway. At the end of the day, it's not really worth it. But what I will say is that I don't understand you have one side of Republican conservative commentators that I see that are like, the party switch didn't happen, blah, 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 blah. I'm fine with that, whatever. Sure. But then you have another side that is so the anti-woke, the anti-SJW crowd that's been telling themselves for years that the Democrats are trying to de-white our country and that they're going too far with their anti-racism things. So if at the end of the day, if the Democrats were racist, would continue to be racist and still are racist, why are there so many people from the right equating the apparently KKK slavery supporting Democratic Party to the woke party now? Do you get what I'm saying?
No.
Why would they have so much support from these people, that the DEI people, if they...
That's a whole nother topic. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna pretend like we're in Harvard, and I'm gonna ask you a question, which I shouldn't do, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What party?
Sure,
what party was Abraham Lincoln involved with?
He's a Republican. Good old Republican boy.
Okay. And what was Abraham Lincoln's claim to fame besides getting shot in the Ford Theater?
Oh, I guess the bullet point, probably Emancipation Proclamation.
Okay. And what was the focus of the Emancipation Proclamation?
The free enslaved people.
Okay. So you're telling me that Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat?
No, not necessarily. I'm saying that.
So he went up against his own people?
I think that if Abraham Lincoln was alive today, I think he'd align a lot heavier with the DEI crowd.
No, he
than would
didn't.
with
No, he didn't, because he would actually suspend the habeas corpus of the federal judges, because he did that in
That's
his.
true.
So
Indeed, he did.
He did. Damn right he did. And by the way,
I'm not a big fan.
He wouldn't. Listen, I don't care. I'm not a fan of Abraham Lincoln either, but he was a man with an impossible choice that had three choices and all of them were wrong. So I got to give him credit. And in the end, he died for it by a Democrat. So it just baffles me that people try to talk about this great party switch and they go back to the beginning of conservatism and they own themselves, not you, by saying, oh, well, Lincoln was a Republican. Well, then he tried to stop slavery against his party, because that doesn't make any sense. Leeroy, last word, then Lawrence, last word. Wait on, Leeroy, last word, then Lawrence, last word. I'm not going to have one. Go, Leeroy.
Real quick, Lawrence, I'm going to give you a website and I want you to look it up at some point.
I'll do it literally right now.
No, well, I mean, you can't. Ballotpedia has a page there, talks about how many times people have switched sides between the parties. Now, I say that because a lot of times people, the Democrats, like to hang out the idea of the party switch based off of one dude who switched parties, and that was Strom Thurmond. Now, if the idea was that because Strom Thurmond had switched sides, that was a complete switching of values between the parties. As of 2025, Ballotpedia has confirmed that 193 state legislators have switched parties. That's just since 1994. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. That's one dynamic. The other one is if 194 people have switched parties, and 75% of those people who have switched parties have gone from Democrat to Republican, not Republican to Democrat. The Republican to Democrat is only 25%. Because of that, would you say the country has gotten more or less racist based off of that? Because if you're saying that it's less racist now, which I would agree with, and 75% of the people who have changed parties have gone from Democrat to Republican, then that blows up your argument.
And it's not blowing up his argument. It's. I'm sorry. I want to treat Lawrence with some respect here.
Yeah, I don't think it's blowing up my argument.
It's not. It's stopping
it's
and removing.
Blowing up the argument that there was a party switch.
It's removing a crutch that is a falsehood. It's not true.
Sure,
because also the southern states didn't
vote
vote for a Republican for 25 years, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So there was no party switch in the 60s when they didn't vote for anybody until Reagan until 84. Go ahead and you get last word, Lawrence. We're going to shut up and nobody's going to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Have at it, Lawrence.
Point blank period. I know it's a question for you guys. And this is just a Gen Z brain rot comment. I got to ask you, boys. I'm sorry. Got to ask it. I want to hear your opinion. You know, I'm not going to.
Just ask it.
Do you think, in your heart of hearts, genuinely, and I really want you to say this with complete open honesty.
Okay.
If there was an Andrew Jackson type, a very, very, very whitey only, I want what's best for our country. You know, we're a Christian nationalist state, and we should remain Christian nationalist, and this is where we should stay. Do you think, but like racist about it, like genuinely racist, do you think that they would vote Republican or Democratic Party currently? If they were completely every single brown person out of here, do you think that without knowing anything else, are they voting Democrat or Republican?
I'll answer after Leeroy, but yeah, I have an answer right now, but I'll let Leeroy go. Leeroy, what do you? I mean, first of all, the premise of the question is completely ridiculous.
It kind of is.
Because Andrew Jackson wasn't.
You're racist. The embodiment of racism.
Just say David Duke, dude. Say David Duke. Just say David Duke.
I was going to go with Edward Norton in American History X, but yeah, David Duke. Fuck it, sure.
David Duke is a lot closer than Andrew Jackson, because I'll tell you why Andrew Jackson wasn't necessarily religious. He used it to his advantage for political career, not because he really was spiritual.
I was just about to say, yeah, maybe it wasn't.
So David Duke is the one, because he is absolutely a supremacist and he thinks he's a man of God. And we've already repudiated him, and we repudiated him on every election because he's been on every fucking ballot for the last 35 years.
I know, it's ridiculous.
There you go. So we've already done it.
He still has support, dude.
Hey, bro, he will have support, but you're talking about 2%. Jill Stein had support, okay? The CSP has support, but this is a very small modicum. There are actually people who believe.
Do you think that David Duke is voted Democrat in the last election? Do you think that he voted for Kamala?
I don't know, and I'm not even going to suppose, because I don't care either way. I don't care about his opinion. I don't care what he thinks. He's an idiot.
But if I'm supposed to assume, no offense to you guys, but if I'm supposed to assume that the few bad apples in your camp are just to be whisked away, if he's one of those apples, you understand why I might be a little more adverse to just being like, oh, you're right, the Democrats.
We're not listening to him. We're not listening to him. He's been useless. Nobody listens. He doesn't have a vote. He was expelled from Congress. Nobody cares about him. So
Can
just
I-
because he claims to
Yeah,
be a
but
part of
people-
us doesn't
you
mean
boys
we're a part of
care
him.
Quite a lot about a bunch of stupid fucking 18-year-olds on Twitter making jokes about it. Charlie Kirk.
You
They
just
don't
said
have
it.
any influence
18
either.
years old. Leeroy, go ahead.
Okay. Listen, Lawrence, because I'm going to make this a really amazing point here. Tune in.
I'm listening, brother.
I want to know,
Yes.
based off of President Woodrow Wilson, he was the one who played Birth of a Nation in the White House. Do you think
Mhm.
that there would have been even 1% or even a couple of hundred Republicans back in the day who would have said, "Oh, I'm glad he did that"? Because I bet you there were.
But
that
not
doesn't
back in
mean-
the day, though. We're not talking back in the day.
No,
I'm not
but
talking
what I'm
back in the day, at
saying,
least.
I think
You have to talk about back in the day when we're literally talking about the formation of the ideology and the principles of this country. We're moving
No, I
away
do
from
not think back in the
Lawrence,
day. I do
let
not
me
think Republicans back then
finish.
were happy about
Lawrence,
that.
let me finish.
All right.
It's the only time you haven't been respectful of me. I've been trying to be respectful of you.
Fair enough, man.
We
I'll
have to focus on our history because everything that's principled about our government was written 250 years ago. So either we move on from those historic documents
right.
and we write new ones every week, or we have to go into history, whether that's a month old or 250 years old. So when people say it doesn't matter what the Democratic Party was founded on, yes, it is, because they haven't left it. The modern day slave plantations holds more than any slaves at any time in history outside of the Great Wall of China, Mesopotamia, and the Egyptian pharaohs. Today, the Democrat Party has millions, tens of millions of slaves that they use for voting. So this punk on YouTube who's sitting here talking about the red states, he can't answer that question. He can't explain why 75 years the Democratic Party has done nothing. And I say, without any equivocation, nothing for the inner cities, except keep them exactly in the same spot that they were. Because they were, I hate to say it, and people are going to get mad at me, but it was better for black people in 1940 and 1950.
No, that's
maybe
true.
not from a freedom standpoint, because that's absolutely true, but from an economic standpoint and family values and the progression of where they were moving on those
Yes.
American dream was far superior than it is today. Now, that
Thomas
doesn't
Sowell
mean
had
that there
noted
was some
their
horrible
employment
shit
was
that's...
higher than.
Go ahead, Leeroy.
I said Thomas Sowell had noted that their employment was higher than.
It's not about... I understand civil rights.
Yeah, where were they employed?
But
for?
affirmative action, listen, it's a big topic, dude. I'm just trying to
Yeah, it
explain
is.
to you
Yeah,
that
we don't need to get into the whole thing.
we
I
already
appreciate
did.
you.
We did, and it's a good conversation.
I
and you-
gotta go in a second. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll go. We'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for the conversation.
Bye, Lawrence. It was good to talk to you,
Fair
man.
enough.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh,
Appreciate
no,
you.
that's... All right, yeah, sure, fair enough. All right, we'll
Call
have a
us
good
back
show,
and-
boys.
hey,
I
Lawrence.
might be back on later.
You should call us back. It was a good conversation. We weren't trying to beat you. We got a lot of trolls in here who are saying some stuff too. So there's a lot of
Yeah,
passion
fuck
in the
that.
room.
Fuck.
I respect you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hope you guys have a good night.
All right,
Sports
buddy.
Bell, Sports
You too.
Team.
Call us again. Thanks, bud. Good kid.
My
Listen,
point-
he's a
He
good
is.
kid.
He really is. My point to that was that if he had just happened to tapped in to the Twitter crowd back in 1915 of the Republicans who were like, "Oh yeah, it was great that Woodrow Wilson played that movie," you know, that's the same people that he's probably following that have those accounts now. There's always going to be fringe movements on either side.
There is no separation in the Democratic Party from 250 years ago till today. None. There is no separation in the party principles that they once had. They hold the same today.
True.
That's it. That's it. It's the same effing party. But I want you to take a look at the delineation between conservatism when it was the anti-federalists and federalists, and go through the Moose Party, and go through the New Era, and go through how we oppose the Great Society because it was founded by a Democrat. How it was, we opposed Manifest Destiny and said, no, wait a second, we're not here to replace and destroy and kill people if they don't follow Christianity. That's antithetical to what we believe. You have the footpads of history, the stepping stones of history to delineate from 250 years ago to today to show you that there was no party switch and there's been no fundamental switch between the Democrats of yesteryear to today, but the Republican Party has transformed multiple times. We used to be for welfare.
Yeah.
We used to be for government handouts. We used to be for expansion of immigration. Look at the 1940s. Why do you think the Supreme Court is such a big deal that we got the Supreme Court? Because if you look over the last 100 years, it was owned by Democrats for almost, 83 years? Off and on.
Right.
Republicans never owned SCOTUS. This is monumental. The Republican Party has changed its face multiple times to grow with the people and grow with the movement. We did it with the Tea Party. We did it in 2014, although it was the wrong move. We did it during the Nixon era. We did it during the Reagan Vision for America and the New Dawn of America. We did it through him. The Conservative Party is constantly growing with the people of America. The Democratic Party is in the same spot they've been for 250 years. And anyone who says that they're not is bold-faced lying to you. Go ahead, Leeroy.
Oh, I was just going to say, to your point, from 1941, they had, 1933 rather, all the way through 1953. So better than a decade was all Democrat control. And in that decade, that was when the Great Depression happened. That was when Great Society, everything, all of the ilks that we can kind of go back in history and kind of I don't want to say assign blame, but for lack of a better term, maybe, kind of all stemmed from there.
Yeah, sorry. I want to make sure we do something. We got to treat our callers with try to treat them with respect. You weren't disrespecting them. It gets frustrating sometimes. So we get passionate, but we're also answering questions that have nothing to do with Lawrence. Listen, Lawrence is a Democrat, and he is finding himself coming to the right, but he has problems with some of our party, as we do.
Fair.
We don't like a lot of the things that are happening. We don't like the rhinos. We don't like the alt-right. We want moderate conservatives when it comes to conservative principles based upon economy and national protection, and fairly moderate when it comes to social issues. That's what I want. That's what Leeroy wants. Leeroy wants more freedom. Caller, I think it's Mel. I got to put a 2-minute timer on this. We've got a lot to cover too. So if it's Mel, give it to us. We'll shut up and listen.
No, it is Mel. And I'd like to thank Lawrence for continually calling in, because he's searching and whatevering, and he's reaching out to the right guys. And I'm happy because eventually he'll find the light.
He's a good dude. He really is a good dude. He really is.
If he keep. And he's smart, and he does know some of this stuff. Yeah, he needs a few more history lessons.
He admits when he's wrong. He admits when he's wrong. That's what I like about him.
Exactly.
Well, that means he can
whatever.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's asking, he's searching for answers, and I think that's amazing. So
yeah,
kudos to Lawrence. I really hope he calls in, and I hope some of the other ones that have been calling in over the last couple of weeks do keep calling in too. My one and only comment is, and I'm just going to throw it out there, what is your opinion on what the globalists, the Davos crowd, the airplane crowd, is their end goal with this Islamic takeover of all of our countries? Because it's happening, as you know, in Europe, it's happening in Canada, they're trying in the States.
It's everywhere.
With the threats of these people going to bodegas, going, if you don't take the cigarettes, blah, whatever, lottery, whatever, we're coming back, whatever. It's starting to a smaller extent, not whatever, but it's there, and it's escalating, especially in states like Michigan, with that mayor throwing out, or I'll march the parade out with the Christian guy going.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's my thing. Like, what's the globalist goal? Because if the Islamists and this group takes over, the globalists are going to go down in fire, because these jihadis have a grade school education of 2, and all they want is their power, their like the whatever. So these people are foolish. Anyways, that's fine.
No, just wait. Leeroy, go ahead. Answer the question, and then I got mine if you missed something, which I don't think you will.
Yeah. I don't think, Mel, and unfortunately, Europe doesn't have the same safeguards that we do here in the United States. We have the Bill of Rights. We have, absolute freedom of speech. We have there's a lot of freedoms that are built into our fabric as a country that help prevent things like authoritarianism. And I firmly believe that that Islam, taken to the extreme, I know quite a few Islams that are absolutely fine, but the zealots, the ones that say, "Hey, my woman has to have the black shroud over her at all times," and I think your wife should have that too. And I think that we all need to point east and bow. And no, you don't get to do that here. And we have laws and safeguards that are put in place to prevent it. That's just my take.
So here's my answer. I've got 2 books now that I read religiously. One is the King James, and then the Woke Mind Viruses. And this isn't a plug for the book, but I'll tell you, the answers are there, and I'm going to give them to you right now. What a globalist wants, real simple. And I already did a show on this. First thing, they want to break down the national borders and sovereignty. Borders create complexity with trade in their eyes. It creates nationalism. It creates competition, and they can't have it. And a country without borders is not a country. And it would be more susceptible to a globalist utopia, which means one centralized bank, one centralized leadership, one centralized control. That's why you are against sovereignty and borders. What that creates is cheap labor, and then you have economic leverage, and it moves populations, and you can redistribute populations, and it encourages mass immigration or outsourcing. So you can have centralized groups and centralized power, and you can bring people in, which is modern day slavery. Instead of putting them on ships and chains, you can move people from location A to location B to suit your needs for mass production or mass control in a centralized location. And you can redistribute the world's population where they're needed, not where they're necessarily going to thrive. It also softens culture. Saw this with the pharaohs. You take away reading, you take away writing, you take away hieroglyphics. They can't write their testimonies. They can't have a documented history of past to learn from their ways. History teaches us how to be in the future. And so we don't continue to make the same mistakes from the past in the present. So you have this cultural softening. It weakens your tradition. It weakens faith. It weakens belief. It puts your love and your faith into the government. And it makes you addicted to government. And these bonds are not metal chains, they're mental chains. And it's the same chains that kept the slaves in place. 4 million different African Americans could have risen up and killed the slave owners. They outnumbered them 100 to 1. Why didn't they? Because they were in mental chains. Lastly, you consolidate political power. It uses these demographic shifts to change voting blocks, to ensure that you put the right amount of people in place who won't resist but will comply with the order because they are addicted to government. This is what the globalists want. It's 5 simple things. And if any, but that's what they want. And that's why, because it's ultimately to shift the resistance away from what they want to do. It has nothing to do with changing the face of the world. It's making the world comply.
Exactly. But they're going to fail because the locusts, which I call the Islamic movement, and all these ones that are infiltrating all of our countries, there's a scourge of the earth. They're going to.
All they need is a nuke.
They're trying to reap the whatever. So when they do attain ultimate power and whatever in all these countries, and there's these few white people that are now going to hold on, these globalists.
I know.
And guess what? They're going to get eaten as well.
They're not. So, all they need to do is take England. All they need to do is take Germany. Then they cripple. Yes, Mel. Yes, that's all they need to do. If the Islamists truly want to take over and destroy Western civilization as we know, they have to have Europe fall. And if Europe falls, the global economy falls. Shipping lanes close off. The Middle East will become prominent. The Middle East will start to invade into European countries. They will expand. They will take Africa, and they will literally march all the way up to China. People don't understand how big the Muslim countries are. They don't understand that they have fought these desert terrain wars for 3,000 years. And they are simplistic, but you will never take their land. You will never take their land. I don't care how many bombs you have, because it's a methodology. If they gain Europe, and they take over England, they become a nuclear power. And if you think that Saudi Arabia and Israel are not going to get wiped off the map in a blink, they will. And then the Middle East falls. And if you're literally talking 2 major continents and a half falling to the largest population on the planet. That's my belief. I'm not trying to shut you up. Go ahead and respond to that and tell me what you think.
Well, no, I'm not painting all the Muslims as Islamists, but I'll guarantee you that number is increasing as we see, and I call them locusts because that's what it says in the Bible. The locusts will come, they will swarm, and they're going to take over.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking those fancy white people with their fancy white planes with Davos, thinking that they're going to still still have control with government, whatever, when the locusts are already eating them up from the feet up. They won't survive either.
Well, no, the
and
globalists will be wiped out, but then that leaves the Islamists, and then you have to ask yourself the question: okay, they may not all be extreme, but who do you think they're going to side with, Allah or Jesus Christ?
They're going to go to Allah.
They're going to kill us. They'll kill us all.
Exactly, we're done.
Okay,
that's why in the Bible they call it the locust.
That is amazing. I agree with you 120%. I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but Europe is key.
Yeah.
Europe is key. And as goes France, so will Canada.
But see, the other part is you should worry more about the locusts coming to Canada because that's a direct threat to
That's a good point.
the U.S.
Listen, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind.
And
but I will tell you what, you want to see
scary
something
part is.
hilarious? No, it's not that scary. You want to know what's going to happen at that point? Russia will join the United States. Because there's one thing that Russia loves more than hating the United States and expanding its territory is killing Muslims. Because they do a lot of it and they go after a lot of... Yeah, they are not big fans of Islamic terror. So, and the Chinese will do the same. You have to understand is that China, Russia, and the United States will join forces to eliminate Islam.
Yeah. And that's where I was kind of going to, because there's going to be this really weird alliance in the next 40 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
I agree with you 120%.
Discouraged because they replicate at us like bunny rabbits, and that's their whole game. And they advertise it. They're so vocal now, going, "This is our land. This is our country. This is our whatever."
I know.
They're locusts.
They're the only population on the planet that is reproducing at a 2.6%.
Oh yeah,
that's terrifying. Okay, I gotta go. I love you. I love you. You know I love you.
Love you.
Mel, you're awesome.
You're always awesome. We love you to death. Thanks, Mel. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, sister. All right. Listen.
Yeah.
If you're in the chat and you're just all you're doing is just spamming, I'm going to keep you around just a little bit longer. But I want you to know a woman and a liberal called in, and you're too much of a fucking coward to call in. And you know who I'm talking. I'm not going to give you any breath. I'm not going to read one of your comments online. I'm not going to give you any. If you want to call in, I'll let you have your time. I'll give you 5 minutes to say all the things you want to say. But I have a feeling that you can't formulate an argument well enough outside of just spam text, because that's all you're doing. And you're not making any sense. You haven't used one piece of punctuation. You're using ellipses completely wrong. You're using fragmentation. Nothing you're saying is resonating or striking a chord with me because it's nonsensical garbage. You haven't disputed one point. So you have a phone number, call in instead of spamming text. All you're doing is helping my freaking feed. And honestly, YouTube can benefit from it.
Are you by chance talking about a Zippo lighter by chance?
No, I don't know what his name is. Nuff Jesus Forever 1.
No.
Because Nuff Jesus Forever 2, 3, and 4, and 5 are also, coveted for the name. Folks, we're putting up the time clock. Got to do that right now. We are desperately away from goal. I know you found this to be a good show, but we need some help. 28:59 is not remaining. We have less than that. Leeroy, thanks for the spirited conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to shut you down there, but I
No,
want
no. And I never, it wasn't aimed at you. And to Lawrence, I apologize if I came across as, hey, a little too
We're
insulting
fired up.
or abrupt.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
conversation. Listen, we hear liberal, but you should hear this, dude. When you were gone, we had Ramon who called in, who's I think was from Chicago. Black gentleman left. We've had Lawrence. We've had liberals calling in left and right. We had people take us up on our debate and call in and debate in the show. It's been great, and we're all for it. I just don't want people to feel that you're going to call in here and we're going to jump on you really hard. But if you come in here and you're not prepared and you mention things like Manifest Destiny, but you're not willing to take accountability that it wasn't a Republican who created Manifest Destiny, that it was a reporter who was a Democrat, then you also have to own the Tuskegee experiments and Japanese internment camps and the Daughters of the Confederacy and the Ku Klux Klan and Jim Crow logs and the civil rights pushback in the South. If you can't, then you're rewriting history, and you're doing exactly what Democrats have done for the last 250 years to stay stagnant in the exact same place they've always been, is by rewriting history. You guys tried to rewrite this great party switch that never took place. You tried to say that slavery was about free trade versus paid labor. I mean, this was the Daughters of the Confederacy. All those statues you guys are trying to tear down in front of the Capitol buildings and in front of your museums, they were placed by the Daughters of the Confederacy. It's hilarious. You guys are the ones who put them up, and now you want to take them down. The Democrats have no idea who they really are. Your party has no semblance of a clue of who you really are. And that's what makes you ignorant and dangerous. And that's why I lump you all together, because you refuse to own the worst parts of your party.
What's always been interesting to me is that when you ask a Democrat right now if they trust the government, they would say absolutely not, because of Donald Trump. But if you were to ask anybody who's right-leaning whether or not they trust the government, doesn't matter who's in office, they will almost always say no.
Right. How about eugenics?
And so there's consistency there, but there seems to be no consistency on the far left.
Yeah. Good conversation. I'll let you be the judge before you kick me. I won't kick you because you're not a threat. The threat is a person who espouses lies that has some sort of semblance in relation to what we're talking about. Those are usually the people I kick, or the ones who, scream Nazi and, call me a Jew lover and stuff like that. But if you're just going to randomly spam shit like you're doing right now, like I could just basically take 20 Hallmark cards and cut them apart and mix them all up and write little haikus. That's what you're doing. You're not making an argument. You're no threat to me. You're nonsensical and your name is stupid. Call in. Have an argument. Let's get to this. Milo Yiannopoulos. Listen, what's your hard stop tonight, Leeroy? Because we got caught up in that, but
whenever.
Okay. It's going to be a fun one tonight. We want to go into overtime. We cannot go into overtime with $70 on the clock. We can't do that. We've got 14 minutes to hit goal. We need help. Let's make it happen. Loretta, we're going to cover those topics. So listen, I am not going to change the show for people. I went down that road 2 years ago. I'll never do it again. We go with the flow. And if we have somebody who calls in, that's just the way it is.
We're going to hear it out.
That's what we do. We want to have conversation. First and foremost, our priority is to have dialogue like that so we can address and face and close the gaps. The news is a secondary, but we're going to cover all of it right now. Yeah. So there it is.
It's important to have those conversations, even with people you disagree with.
That's correct.
That's what Charlie Kirk would have wanted.
That's right. And you know what? We got to pick up the mic. Milo Yiannopoulos, somebody who I'm not a big fan of. In fact, I don't really like him at all. But he has some things here that he's talking about. And it's very similar to what we just talked about. And I want to get your thoughts on this and his deliverance. By the way, he looks completely different. You remember he used to wear sunglasses and a bunch of jewelry and had tips in his hair. And it was just a weird looking fellow. Seems to be grounding at least. But here's his point, and we'll listen to it. And then we got to do
I remember
commercial. That. Yeah, here it is.
It doesn't matter if you agree with the literal truth of Christianity or not. The founders did, and they made a country for people who did. And if you don't agree with that, you don't like God, or you don't see why too much freedom is leading us all to hate and kill each other, and you don't appreciate that we should not only restore Christianity in culture, but require it in public life, you should go to Canada. You should go somewhere else where there's a moral architecture built into the law. But here, it doesn't work without God. And when you don't have him, when instead people replace prayer and the rituals of the church with antidepressants, with compound interest, with games and drink and drugs and fornication, kind of thing he does with his wife, you know, offering her around town like she's common property. America doesn't work when we behave that way, because we'll all just end up murdering each other.
Okay. So that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
You know, there's some I really agree with. And there's
some of it.
And then there's
and
some
then the other parts of it where he was saying, oh, we should make Christianity mandatory.
You know what it reminds me of? It really reminds me of the Book of Eli.
Yeah.
That religion
Such a
is
good movie.
That religion is for all people. Religion is for the people who seek power so they can control, and religion is for the people who aren't smart enough to think for themselves. Whew. And that's a horrible thing. That's pretty profound, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty profound. And I don't believe, because that's the way religion is looked at by a lot of people in power, is they
Absolutely.
participate in religion because it helps them control the masses. And then the masses are turned to religion for a hope of a better life that will never be provided by the people telling us that they're religious and working in God's order. It gives you the ability to repudiate politics. It gives, like, I'm finding myself more and more liberated the more I read, the more I go to church, where I'm like, I don't need government to help me understand things. In fact, I can use God to help me understand where the government is failing, because it was written on that. Go ahead. Mel Lowe.
Thank you, Mel. 5199 says, good to goal dummies. Thank you so much, Mel.
What do you think of, I think what he's trying to say is, if I'm going to try to put it in a way that's not completely a little batshit and a little genius,
Yeah.
is that people need to have fear in their lives in order to behave. And they don't fear anything because they don't fear the government, because progressives just let them out. People burn shit down, $2.5 billion in damage, 200 plus riots. Nobody cared. Look at Oregon. Nobody's coming to save them. Look at Chicago. Nobody wants the guard there. Nobody wants policing. So when you remove moral authority, what's left? Anarchy.
I think there's the threat of consequence, at least from the religious perspective. If you misbehave and you turn your back to God, right, you know that it has been taught in every Sunday school, and it says in the Bible that basically you're going to end up in a not so good place.
Right.
And from the perspective of from government, it's the exact opposite. It's the lack of consequence that says, oh, I can do whatever the hell I want.
Right.
And if so-and-so murders somebody else and they don't get any time for it, then where's the dissuasion? Where's the consequence to say? So that's the war that has been waged against religion, which provided that moral grounding. And then another one against, to some degree, consequence within society, to say, oh, well, you want to be a drug user? Here, we'll give you the needles. We'll give you a safe zone.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Well, that was the whole point of Book of Eli. You get them hooked on drugs.
Right.
You get them hooked on power. You get them hooked on sin, or you get them hooked on religion. And let's face it, there are entire dynasties throughout history that's used religion for their own devices.
1,000%.
And it's been predominantly used by governments up until the United States around 70 years ago. That religion truly was challenged to be removed from Politico Esperanza. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's no longer the focal point of our government, and I think it's to the detriment of our government. Because if you don't believe in God and you don't keep faith alive, how can you justify to the citizens that their laws are moral when the entirety of all of our laws are based upon the moral code of the Bible? I mean, that's the truth. Now, we've made amendments and we've made changes and added and we've exposed a little bit from the Constitution, but it's still frame. The frame is the frame, and the code of it is that all men are created equal, unless God didn't make them that way. And now you can have inequity and you can have imbalance and you can justify for the evil things that you do. That is a terrifying thought. So I understand where he's coming from. He just said it a little poorly.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have worded that way better. And think about the perspective of time with that too. To your point, if most of our laws are rooted in some level of Christianity, which makes sense, the 10 Commandments, one of them says, thou shalt not kill. Okay, well, you're not supposed to murder. That's a given in society, right? But play that forward a couple of 100 years. Government has gotten so big that now it's not only shall you not kill, but you also, thank you, Patricia Good, for the $26.25. You're amazing. Thank you, Patricia. But now, not only can you not kill or steal or anything else, but you also can't store your propane can within 18 inches of blah, blah, blah. We've gotten a little carried away.
Over-regulation is a forethought to increase government control. It just happens. But it's interesting you said that. Thou shalt not kill unless have thou valid reason. Thou shalt not kill unless you castigate aspersions of Nazism and transphobia on a person. Thou shalt not kill unless it aligns with party politics. Thou shalt not burn down neighborhood unless a cleansing is needed to remind people who truly runs the city. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. I mean, isn't that really the truth? The regen therapist subscribed. Cool. By the way, I don't know if you've seen YouTube, dude, but when you were here last, we had like 1,200 followers. I think we're up to 3,700. We've had 3 videos go to 3 million views. YouTube is kicking off. We actually made money on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
TikTok has had, I don't know, at least 1 million views. Threads, 2.7 million views. Instagram was at like 1,200 followers. I think we're up to like 3,600. We're growing on every channel, bro. The only one's not growing is Twitter. But I don't understand. We can't break the algorithm, and people don't see us, but I don't care. But folks, we are at 148. We're halfway there to go. We got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. We got 154 people on. That's honestly a lot on YouTube, a lot on Facebook, a little bit on Twitter. And then we've got our followers on Rumble and Wimkin. So we're well over 250. If everyone gave $1 right now, we would crush it. We're trying to hit our goal. Go to thedumbshow.com/donate. I'm not going to show you the commercial. We don't have enough time tonight, but it comes down to this. Every time you don't give, God kills a puppy. So if you love puppies, help us out and donate to the show. This is Paul, our Patrick Bet David. And
I've seen him.
I really like him. I really do. CJ Jenkins, 2625. CJ, we love you. Thank you. 3 minutes and 32 seconds. We're going down. Threads is Instagram/Facebook. It's the answer for Twitter and Blue Sky. And it's actually quite nice. My thread is left and right, and I get a good, healthy mix of everything. So I'm embracing it. It's actually a pretty good social media app, and it's not as toxic as X, but they also promote us really well. Like I've only got like 400 followers, but I got videos going into the millions of views. That's good. TikTok has been doing that. Like my videos on TikTok are now up to 5, 6, 7, 8,000, 10,000, 20,000 views, and I've only got like 500 followers. So we're growing, and you can see Facebook hasn't stopped. I mean, by the end of the show, we very well might be at 310,000. Here's the video. It's Patrick Bet David and Nick Fuentes, and this is what I hoped for. I said I want PPD to sit down with Nick because I think Nick is proselytizing a little bit, but he's getting in his own way. And he's saying the right things in a really effed up way that people are losing the message. Listen, I don't think, you know me, I see the good in people. I think you know me well enough that I try to see the good in people. And if I don't see it in you, I abandon you and kick you to the curb, and you're nothing to me. But if I see, like Lawrence is someone I worked with for 4 years, and I still believe that he's a good kid. I don't think Nick Fuentes is evil. I think a lot of what he says is for show. But I want you to listen to this and really it's about the Jews. And I know Barry's watching, and Barry's going to be like, what? But Barry also listened to Nick the last 2 times, and he's like, I almost dropped my jaw because Nick was defending the Jews. And I want you to hear what he says. And he's not saying that the Jews betrayed Christ. He's not saying they're evil. He's not saying they're dirty. He's not saying Hitler was a good guy. He's saying too much centralized power, which is exactly what we were just talking about, for any race, color, creed, is detrimental to the United States. Where if your thoughts are not America first, that you are damaging the United States and the interest of our country. I want you to listen to this and have an open mind. I'm not saying that I agree with everything he's saying. What I'm saying is it's very interesting. All right, here we go. Let's watch this.
What do you think about between the two communities, Muslim and Jews? Which one concerns you more?
Jews, for sure.
Tell me why.
More powerful. They're more powerful.
So more powerful in a way, you're talking the fact that they have money, finance, Hollywood. Is that what you're?
Yeah, they have more position in American society.
And how do you think they got that?
I think they got it because they are extremely connected. They're a transnational entity. You know, this is how the Rothschilds got started. Their superpower is that they live everywhere, and they have their Jewish identity supersedes their local identity. So a Jewish person in America or in Germany or in France or in the UK, they can all talk to each other and work together.
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Not in and of itself. It is detrimental for America, though.
Is it detrimental, though? Because, you know, I'm a Syrian, right? Mm-hmm. And I wish Assyrians were more like this. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you why I relate to them. We don't have a country. Assyrians used to have a country. We used to be the first warriors. We were written about in the Bible. You read it all over the place. You know, the history we had, the things we invented. And then we became a little cocky. And God came in and was like, listen, man, relax, Assyrians. You ain't going to come and be the king of the jungle. It's me. And you hear the stories about that they built a tower to go all the way to the top because we are Assyrians and, you know. And then we failed. It's like, no, look at you now. No one knows who Assyrians are. You don't even have a country, right? We know the land in Iraq or wherever you are. You don't have it anymore. I think when a community becomes too cocky, the man upstairs is going to handle that himself, right? But in a sense, when you see they went from a small community to have this much influence, isn't that almost impossible for them to pull off? Like, isn't that? So it either produces one of two things. I'm not intimidated. I'm not a guy that is envious or jealous or, oh my God, that guy's rich.
Folks, we are down to 0 on the clock. It's 9 o'clock. We have not hit goal. We want to do overtime. Like, Leeroy and I haven't been on the show together for a while, and there's a lot of things that we have to talk about tonight. We got to hit goal. So everyone help out when you can. I know you probably wait until the end. Now's the time. But we've got 10 more.
Wanda.
Yes,
Wanda Cardona donated $10. Thank you, Wanda.
That's a new donation. I don't think Wanda has donated before, so thank you so much. Listen, just let's be considerate of that and think about that. We want to go into overtime, but we can't afford to do 184 and go into overtime. So we're going to need some help in the next 5-10 minutes. We got to hit it, or this will be our last segment.
Me, that guy's this guy's. I'm not. I want to see what they did and what worked for them. For example, to me, when I think about Jews, I think about Mormons, I think about Scientologists. I used to have an office where half the office was all Scientology, and I learned all these phrases, assist, or, I went to their church and so Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard and what he would say when you get a headache, you do this, and all these weird extras. I'm like, oh, interesting. How much money did we give? $200,000. Why'd you give that? But let me tell you, those guys that were in, they had each other's back. It was a fraternity that you wish family members were like this, right? I think Scientologists have it maybe more than Jews. I think Jews will bite each other a little bit, not as much. And then Mormons have each other's back. Of course, there's a fallout out as well where people come out and they'll talk about God makers or, with Gordon B. Hinckley. And I've read all of that stuff from over the years. But what's wrong with them winning at the highest level?
Well, I agree with you that it is remarkable and it is actually ominous how much they've achieved. Here's the problem though. America's an open society, you know.
What's that?
Why is it ominous?
I think he's going to explain that.
The premise of this country is it's self-government, of, by, for the people. There's a egalitarian idea that we are all citizens, and our government is going to be comprised of the citizenry of America. That's deeply embedded in who we are and in our government and our whole system. And take me, for example. I'm Italian, Mexican, and Irish. The Italians were very much like this when they immigrated to America. You know, they had in Chicago what they called the outfit, which was the mafia, and they looked out for each other. And when my grandfather died on my mom's side, I believe my grandmother got a loan from the outfit. And they would come by every month or whatever, and they'd bring a fruit basket, and they'd look after her, and they provided financially.
Was it Spilatra's group? Do you know the history of it, or was it Tony Spilatra?
I don't know who it was specifically.
Okay, got it.
But so, these are some of the stories I would hear growing up from my mom and my grandmother.
So think about, at that time, how many people were against Italians? At that time, how many people didn't like Italians in New York? Because
a lot.
You know, Bank of America was first called Bank of Italy.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
That's true.
So can you pull up, Rob? Was Bank of America first Bank of Italy?
Yeah, it changed
If I'm
in the
wrong,
40s or
it is
50s,
what
I
it
thought.
is. I think Bank of America was originally Bank of Italy, and everybody used to. Yes, the Bank of America was originally founded in Bank of Italy in 1904.
30.
An Italian American in San Francisco, and that financial needs of Italian immigrants and other underserved people. The bank eventually merged with another institution to form Bank of America and changed its name to Bank of America, right?
That's right.
The tellers were Italians. You know, they would give small little loans, $10, $4, $5.
They had a map of Italy
and
inside
some
of
people
it.
were not supportive of that. They're like, what are Italian immigrants doing here? You guys are becoming too much power in New York. We're not happy about this. So there was some of that going on 100 years ago.
And that's what I'm saying is that did exist. And then what happened eventually is that Italians assimilated. Eventually, these groups, these ethnic advocacy groups, were broken up, if you could call the outfit that, or the mob of New York. And then Italians assimilated. And when I grew up, I saw myself as American. I didn't see myself as Italian American. I just saw myself as American. And I think that, you know, when you see Jewish people working together, I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently. And I agree with you. It's like a superpower. It's actually admirable in some ways. They look out for each other. But if society becomes, American society in particular, a place where every group is ganging up, well, we're the whites, we're the blacks, we're the Jews, then I think what America is starts to come apart, and it turns into kind of like a bit of a politicized race war. And I think that you either have to have a society where everybody gets to play by those rules and everybody could be pro what they are, or everybody is assimilated and we're all Americans.
Isn't that good?
And that's why I say it's detrimental, is that if Jewish people are Jewish first, not of, by, and for America, but of, by, and for the Jewish nation, this is problematic when they're in positions of power, because are they looking out for all of us, or are they looking out for themselves first? And when you look at the Israel policy, that's where people start to say, I think you're looking out for yourselves first. I think you're biased. And unfortunately, you're using the public purse and American soldiers to fight your own battles. And that's the problem. It's not, I don't have hatred for them. I don't have a problem with them in themselves or even what they do. It's just that with our system, that doesn't work.
What do you...
It's super interesting.
It's a canard. It's such a canard, right? Because it really is a canard. But it's such a good argument, right? It's going to shut down 90% of people who are going to argue with Nick Fuentes. Now, there's only one way to beat that argument, and I can do that. But I want to hear your thoughts first, and then we'll talk about how do you beat that argument.
Sure. So I took issue with his opening salvo, which was that that what makes Jewish communities strong is they're linked to other Jewish people, because he's never said that about any of the other groups.
Right.
He had never really said that about Catholics, even though it's just as much of a
right.
The same rule applies. Because I'm Catholic, if I wanted to reach out potentially to a Catholic relative that I have in England, I could do that with no issues.
Correct.
So that kind of opening statement that he had, I was like, that doesn't hold water, dude. That doesn't pass the smell test. Now,
unless you bring it back like he did.
Well,
right?
And so that's a great point. If his issue is that all of these groups of people will say, Mexican Americans or black people or Catholics or Jewish people, whatever happens to be the puzzle pieces, the congregation that fit together where people hang out with like-minded other people. If that is his biggest issue, then why did he make the video just last week saying he wouldn't hang around black people? Why does he have such why does he have such a library?
I got to challenge that. Did he say that he wouldn't hang around with black people?
Yes.
Or did he?
Sorry, I thought that was the end of it. Sorry, keep going.
Well, usually when I'm done talking, that's when I'm done. So, did he say that he wouldn't hang around black people? Because that's not true, because he does and he has. Or that he prefers to hang around people of his own color and his own race because of cultural similarities, and doesn't trust black people because he's scared of them.
He said in the video where the girl got stabbed that he doesn't like hanging around black people, and that I'd have to watch it again.
Did he say he was scared of them?
He did kind of allude to that.
He's scared of them. That's always Nick's argument. Is he believes that white people and black people shouldn't, interracial marriage is wrong because it subdilutes the culture, right? And he doesn't want his culture diluted. As black people want black culture, and they love black culture, and Mexicans love Mexican culture, and Indians love Indian culture, and Jews love Jew culture. Why can't white people the only people that can't love their culture? Because the moment that they do, they're racist.
Right.
It's a very interesting point. And I don't agree with them, because I think mulatto makes some of the most beautiful people on the planet. And my culture isn't based upon what my skin color. I just don't do that. But it is interesting that anyone that says they're not afraid of black people, I challenge you to go to the middle of Baltimore at 3 a.m. And you're going to find out that you're afraid of black people. But you can also go into Tucumcari, Mexico, and you're going to find out, New Mexico, that you're afraid of white people at 3 o'clock in the morning too. So I think we're, once again, on the hierarchy of things, we're putting up skin color and political ideology that have nothing to do with it, when we should be focused on the content of somebody's character. And that's the true definition of who people are, right?
Well, and that was his point later on, was that if we could get away from this idea of group identity, right, that was something that he could get behind. But I really feel like those comments were reserved for that show. And I know what you were saying before.
That's that's even another great point. That's a fantastic, because he is a different person when he's away from home field advantage. When he gets home field advantage, his racist bullshit comes out, his homophobic stuff. And you know what? That's where I try to tell you that's for his listeners. He knows how to be. He's like, it's like me. When I'm on my show, I'm at my rawest, but when I'm in public, I'm sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, hold the door open for ladies, and try to be a little bit small and quieter than most people. I'm very different on the outside than I am on the show. When I have home court advantage, I'm a different person. But when a guest walks in here, that's the difference between me and Nick. When a guest walks in my home, I get that, treat them with respect and kindness and love. But he does that when he goes off into away courts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so because of that, I kind of question his authenticity while he was on the show. And I'm not calling him an outright liar.
You're right.
But I would absolutely
he
look
does
at
that
with a,
he does that. You're right. And I've called him out, and I called the Groypers. We did that together when we faced off against Beardson. You remember me saying that. I said, why is Nick Fuentes different when he's around black people, but doesn't say, but he honestly, he does go, like when he was with Charlemagne, he said, he's like, listen, I don't think black people and white people should mingle. And I don't think they should repopulate. I think they're, because honestly, there is a part where I don't have a problem with it, because I think it's totally fine. But you know what's funny? Those families have a problem with it, because that child doesn't know where they belong. And I've seen it. My best friend was mulatto, and he didn't know. White family treated him differently, and the black family treated him differently. It's very confusing for him. And I think most mixed kids will tell you that there are family members who have some issues and take issue with it. And I think maybe systemically that's changing over time as we grow a little more sensitive with our DEI. But I do think there's an issue. What do you think of the last thing he said, where, religious or racial identity is either should be okay for everybody and everyone should be able to do it, or we all have to just be Americans. I mean, that's a really interesting, I mean, that's a show in itself, but I know that tickled your pickle because it did for me too. What do you think of that?
I think that assigns everyone to some level of group identity, and it contradicts his prior point where why can't we all just be individuals who might happen to be of the same color, or might happen to share the same religious beliefs, or might happen to, it goes on and on and on. It contradicts that to some degree. If and I can get behind the idea that because I've said this, we are all Americans.
Right.
But whether or not you identify yourself as an African American, a Jewish American, or whatever, really what that means is, thank you, JD Stillwell, for $15. Says, football night with a family. I'll rewatch the show.
Thank you, JD. And folks, we're 101 away, and we need a big one. We want to hit this. And listen, I don't even care if we overdrive 300. We just need to hit 300. So this is going to be the last topic unless we can do that. We really can't afford to lose money when we're on. Go ahead.
My final point to that was that, crap, JD derailed me. Oh, I know what it was. If I say that I'm African American or Jewish American or any other type of American, that what that is, it's just an acknowledgement of my cultural heritage. That's all it is.
Right.
And if you, Matt Spear, can look at me and say, oh, that is Leeroy Brown, who happens to be a culturally linked to the Syrian people, well, that's fine, because I acknowledge you as whatever.
Okay.
But there's no animosity behind that.
But let's do a little thought experiment here. And because we have a couple of things we have to get to something about Washington D.C. that needs to be, folks, we need to hit goal. I'm serious. Like, of all nights, this has to be the night. You've got to hit goal, because there's something that I need to talk to you about. And I'm worried about goal again. Why am I worried about goal at 9:15? Let's go. Help me out. Not demanding, of course, just saying we've got stuff to cover. It's my fault. I shouldn't have done an hour-long call. That's my fault. This isn't on you. It's on me. But either way,
I think the problem is the hat.
Shut up. So but this is Nickel Hardware. It's a hardware store inside of our old town out here, and it's been up since 1910, and it's amazing. And
that's
Leeroy
cultural.
Leeroy had a chance to see our town here, and it's a beautiful place. But Nichols Hardware, I go there all the time, and I told them I'd wear their hat on the show once in a while. So if you're in Purcellville, Virginia, go see Nichols Hardware. It's amazing. It's on Main Street. Okay. So Island Omar.
Yeah.
American?
Was she born here?
No, she naturalized. She married her brother.
She naturalized.
She married her brother.
Yeah.
This is, I've got the documents. I'm not going to argue about it anymore. She married her brother.
Yeah.
So
is she American?
Yep.
If she's naturalized, then yeah.
Well, who she's loyal to? Is she loyal to the United States?
Do you have to be loyal to the United States to be a naturalized citizen?
No. Do you have to be loyal to the United States if you're an American, is the question.
Well, you should.
Maybe not from a legal standpoint, but from a fundamental standpoint, do you have to be loyal to the U.S. to be an American? If not, it's treason. Is it not? If you're fundamentally working against everything the United States stands for, is that not treasonous?
See, and there's a difference there. There's a distinction. If you are actively working and actively saying we need to overthrow the current government, that's treason.
She's in the U.S. government and she supports Somalia first.
Yes. So within that framework, yes.
Okay, Rashid Tlaib, U.S. citizen, but supports Al Qaeda, ISIS, JIP, Hamas, the Houthis, the Muslim Brotherhood.
That is absolutely treasonous.
Okay, and everyone agrees. I mean, there's not one person on this chat right now who disagrees with what I'm saying. These are people who support not American interests, but other countries. Okay, now here we go. Everyone buckle in, because you're not going to like this. So what about people who are Jewish, who are politicians, and they say Israel first, and we all accept it?
That's a good point.
Why do we have certain legislators who are wearing IDF uniforms to the floor. See, this is my problem, is I am a Zionist, fervent Zionist. I support the Jews. I believe the money that we give them, caller will be right with you. The $3.5 billion that we give the Jews, I think is money well spent. Otherwise, we have to create $6 billion in infrastructure, and we have to start from zero. And we don't know anything about it. Human intelligence in Middle East is extremely hard. Why? Because we're white. And you got the Jews who can do it, and they are infiltrated, and they have the infrastructure to do this.
I need to make a quick point, and then we can move on. I would say that Jewish politicians who happen to
thank you, Chuck,
work in the United States, thank you, Chuck, aren't necessarily. And it's because they're not actively working to overthrow the government. They may be working within the government, and they may have their other interests, placed elsewhere, but they're not actively looking to overthrow our government.
If you want to help Somalia and be a politician, do it through America First, and then America aids Somalia with policy. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You can be America First and support Israel, but what you can't do is support Somalia first and then say you're America first. You can't support Israel and then say, listen, once again, I'm a Zionist, 120%. I support Israel. I believe we should defend Israel at all costs, and even with American troops, if necessary. I feel the same way about Taiwan. I don't feel the same way about Ukraine. It's not a strategic point of infrastructure that needs to happen. As long as we hold the western part of Ukraine, we're fine. Just from a strategic standpoint, if one piece of Taiwan falls, it's Korea. If one piece of Taiwan falls, it's Korea. And if one piece of Israel falls, it's Korea. It'll divide in two countries, and you will see Lebanon. You will see Syria. You've already seen this in the Middle East. You'll have in Iraq, you had like 27 different sects of power. And the reason why is you have the Shias, you have the Sunnis, and you have the Kurds, and you have multiple Islamic groups that are all fighting for power. You have the hierarchy and the elites. You have the production-based, oil-producing, and diamond enrichment style elites who run the economy. You have the military, and then you have terrorist groups. So you've got factions upon factions upon factions, and chieftains and princes, and it's insane, and sheiks, and it's just a power structure that is just unbelievably complicated. Israel and Taiwan must stand. But I don't want a politician in the United States to say, I'm Israel first, and you need to understand that. No, I'm not okay with that. Just like I'm not okay with Ben Shapiro saying Israel first and then the United States. I disagree with him. He's like, but this is my faith. My religion, Judaism, and my country are synonymous with each other. And yes, and so are emphatic Muslims. Muslims believe the same thing, that their religion and that their ethnicity is tied together. They're an ethnocentric, theocratic people who believe that their religion is synonymous with their cultural heritage, and the way that they govern and the way that they process everything is through their religion and their racial identity. The Japanese were very much the same with Bushidoism. It was also the same thing. So what do you do? How do you do it without being a hypocrite? And I think that's Nick's point. And I think Nick, if he wouldn't be all the other things that Nick is, would have such a good point. And he could make that point and say, I don't hate Israel. I'm America first, and I don't think you can be America first by putting Israel first. Just like I don't think you can be America first by putting Egypt first.
The irony is for Nick, that
he's his own worst enemy.
If he were to go and join completely our side and forego these thoughts of, oh, I don't like black people, I don't like Jews. The irony is, of course, that he would then be viewed as the enemy because he's a white dude. Just saying.
Tammy says, our commitment to Israel stems from the command of God in the book of Genesis, but that's not why we do it, okay? So I'm just letting you know that's not why we defend Israel. Because Obama had no desire to defend Israel, neither did Biden, and they put Netanyahu in the back burner. and they were ostracizing Israel. And they were pushing legislation to cut funding for Israel. And their party wants to do that. So it's not a commandment of God, because unfortunately half of our government doesn't even believe in God. It's because Israel is one of two things. Real quick, donation of Loretta Lewis, $10.60. I challenge all others who love this show. Yeah, Loretta, let them guilt works.
Hell yeah.
So my thoughts are this. We protect Israel for two reasons. Because if Israel falls, then the Muslims, it creates instability in the region, and they're going to start killing each other. Because when they don't have Jews to kill, they kill each other. And if you don't believe me, just basically look from 1830 all the way to 1940, and look what happened. And then go 3,000 years before that. Whenever they don't have Jews to kill, they kill each other. But the big thing is also you have two very important trade routes and thoroughfares in the Middle East that if you lose stability in the region, it is going to completely foobar the trade industry around the world and global trade market. And we saw what happened during COVID. You saw what happened during the conflicts. You saw when the Suez got blocked by that freighter
tanker. Yeah.
And that dude, that shut us down for what? They got it out finally in about 7-10 days. But the impact of that lasted months with trade. Israel, and the last thing is their intelligence apparatus. The Mossad and IDF are incredible from an intelligence standpoint, and we cannot reproduce it. They are infiltrated into Iran. They're infiltrated into these terrorist organizations. They are in every single country in the Middle East, and they dominate the intelligence game. And it literally keeps, if you want to know, everyone's like, well, everyone keeps saying Iran's going to get a nuke. Iran's going to get a nuke. Iran's going to get a nuke every couple of years. Do you want to know why they never got one? Because Israel would go in and murder everyone in the establishments, or they would nuke it, or they would send in a man who would literally clack off C4 and be sitting a mile away. They would hit it with precision laser-guided munitions. They would hit it with Tomahawk-like missiles. They would bombard it. They would send in commandos and blow it up and sabotage. They continue to set their nuclear programs back, but to a point where they got an infusion of cash from Obama that didn't allow the Jews to keep up. And Natanz and all the other production plants got online because Israel was literally looking at like whack-a-mole.
That's absolutely true.
This is why you keep, Fordow, Natanz, these things opened up because of Israel's incapability of continuing to do, because of the restrictions that Obama and Biden put on Israel. So this is a moot point. You can be America first and support Israel. But I happen to agree with Nick on this point that you can't be Israel first and be America first. That you just can't do it. And if you want to call me an anti-Semite, you're an idiot, because I'm not. I'm an American first person. I believe America should always be, we put our oxygen on first. The rest of the world can take care of itself until we're good. Fair enough, Leeroy?
That's fair.
Hi, bud. You going to bed?
Yeah.
Good night, my brother.
Love you.
Love you. How did the Astros do?
Aww.
They don't play till 10:05.
Okay, I'll wake you up and tell you. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to wake you up and tell you.
He's like, nope, I'm going to go to bed.
Love you, pal. Leeroy, what is this? We're going to hit gold, damn it. We got $15 to go. Come on, people now. Smile on you, brother.
That sure as shit looks like a truck full of, is that fencing?
That's fencing, buddy. Yeah. That is fencing. So these are essentially anti-personnel gates.
Shit.
And they're going up around, and multiple of these trucks came into Washington, D.C., and UN is in New York, so that ain't it. So I'm going to walk you through a little thought experiment here, and this is the big one that I wanted you guys to see, because this is important tonight. And yes, we'll talk quickly about Jimmy Kimmel, even though we already did it. Oh, by the way, also, the one argument that you could hit Nick with is the Jews have assimilated to the United States.
Yeah.
Jewish culture is in New York. It's in Chicago. It's massively in Florida. Retirement communities in California. Hollywood is saturated. Thousand Oaks, California. I mean, Jews are everywhere. They have matriculated with society. Your thing is you want them to declare that the United States is their holy land. And what you're asking them to do is repudiate their religion in favor of their government. And I don't know if that is something you can ask, because you certainly wouldn't ask it of the Catholics to repudiate the Vatican and the Pope. So how can you ask the Jews to do the same? That would be my argument for Nick. That's the only one
that's so much of a good point, that the mere implication that there's been any sort of influence between Italian Americans or Irish Americans,
right?
To say that their influences may not be on par with, but the fact that there is influence means that to some degree that you're guilty by association on that, you know.
Israel has taken out the nuclear program of Iran multiple times.
Yeah.
This isn't the first one. They just couldn't get there. Once again, when you give them an infusion of $150 billion in cash and take off their sanctions, and Iran's able to sell their weaponry and sell their oil at a whim, this is what happens. They wind up fast tracking their nuclear enrichment program to a point where the Jews couldn't hit it. Someone said, "Who's saying Jews first?" I explained it to you, Michelle. I explained the whole thing to you. You have people in Congress who are Jewish. You have our Speaker of the House going and touching the wall and being invited to Israel. You have most of our politicians take money from Israel. Now, a lot of them take money from Qatar and Saudi Arabia too. What I'm trying to tell you is that you can't pick and choose.
Right.
Either we allow all influence in our country and say it's okay to be Africa first or France first or Canada first and then America second, or none of them can. And I'm in the boat of none of them can.
Same.
You're
either appreciative of what America is, right, and prioritize the melting pot that we are, or by prioritizing some element of that melting pot, you diminish the other cultures that are here.
Okay, we got a call. The Jews in the U.S. are not demanding we all become Jewish. Islam is making that demand. No. I disagree with you 120%, Thomas. I believe there's.
Hey, how's it going? Tony Rigatoni here.
Okay, we're almost done. We're in the middle of a conversation. Hang tight, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
So I don't believe that all. Lisa Bentley, thank you for the donation, 2110. I think extremist groups believe that.
Well, wasn't that intellectual? That's what the left brings.
I left them on.
Just shut them down.
We're gonna call them back.
Wait,
hold on a second.
Great. What a goof.
It's okay. See if he answers back. See if he answers back.
Or is he smelling his own farts right now?
Hey, you were muted, dup fuck. You know that. That wasn't a win. Jay Spada. I got your address too. Should we give it out?
Yes.
You want your address, phone number?
Dox him.
Got his Facebook info. Oh, why'd you hang up? Oh no. Why'd you hang up? You didn't know that I have all these toys? You don't know I have all these toys?
Hello, how's it going?
You don't know I have all these toys? How about your address? Do you want it on publicly displayed in front of everybody? Is that what you want?
70.
Oh, right in your fucking ear, dude. That had to hurt. You weren't even ready for it. I win.
What a goof.
I won. Sorry for the listeners who had their headphones on. Okay, so here's a video for you. You know what he's doing? He's like, did I just lose my own game? See this picture?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
That looks like a cell network.
Yep.
A router network.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. For SIM cards.
Yeah.
And those are SIM dialers. So this is super interesting, man. And when I saw this, I'm not going to lie, my butt puckered just a little bit.
Yeah.
So Secret Service dismantled a network of more than 300 SIM servers. 300 servers. 100,000 SIM cards, Leeroy. 100,000. This was in New York.
Big network.
This was in New York, and I can confirm that it was very close to the UN. And they were capable of. Oh, I got a phone call. I got to answer this. Sorry.
Here we go.
Hey, you're on the Don't Unfriend Me show.
Hello.
Oh, call back. Call back. I accidentally hit the button. Streetsville, Ontario. Call back. They were capable of crippling telecom systems and carrying out anonymous telephonic attacks, disrupting a threat before world leaders arrived for the UN General Assembly. And I want you to consider what this could do. This could shut down 911. This could overwhelm cell phone networks and police communication. Sorry there, Ontario. My bad. Who are we talking to?
Hello?
Hello. Who are we talking to?
Yeah, you guys are fat and
Yeah, you tried. She said she wanted to suck my what? My.
She sounded cute.
No, she wasn't cute. She wasn't.
Was
cute.
she up?
She was either going to call us fags or fat. And I'm sorry, Leeroy's fat. I'm not fat.
I am fat.
You're not fat. You're big boned.
It's all downstairs.
I love you.
It's all below the waist.
I
It's
love
good.
you. I think you're a good looking guy. So you've got 100,000 SIM cards, which can go ahead and do a lot of things. It can spam and bot and AI bot. It can run DDoS attacks. It can overload websites. It simultaneously can run something. I think it was like 7.2 billion commands a second. So if you could imagine them hitting these, and doing these attacks, that would be absolutely incredible.
Well, the idea
you have
there
hepatitis
is
and herpes, bitch. Okay, go ahead, Leeroy.
the idea there is that nobody has landlines anymore, or very few people.
Hepatitis. You can't even get a word in, hooker. Oh God, I'm so much
the
better
idea
at this.
there is
wait,
that
hold on.
if
We gotta stop. I'm having fun with this. Hepatitis. She can't even get a word. This is God, so frustrating for her. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I'm not going to do it again. I promise, Leeroy. I promise.
If the idea there is that it overwhelms the cellular network and nobody's able to get any sort of emergency calls out,
right?
Then that what that is more than anything tells me that there was an attack planned that maybe they just recently had to abort. Maybe.
Well, yeah, and also it infiltrates command control communications. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I heard you do anal. Too bad. You're gone. See? You don't get a word in. You can't even say anything. I mean, it's to the point where I control the button. I have control of the button. I can find the button, unlike your girlfriend. So you're putting up gates in Washington, D.C. Why?
Security.
But why? Well, for what?
Well, gates are good for two things, right? They're to keep people in or keep people out. In this case, it's out.
Yeah. And I think you probably can't go into it, but I would assume it might have to do with a certain prime minister coming to the United States.
I have not been tracking any of that.
Yeah, but there's got to be
I was so far disremoved from everything from last week that this entire morning and for the last day, I've just been trying to get caught up on emails and stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting because
what did I miss?
Well, I think Netanyahu's coming on the 29th is the scuttlebutt. Okay. Whether that's confirmed or not, I don't know. But you would assume that what they're trying to do is keep, like you said, they have additional threats. You're a whore. And they're trying. Hi, you've reached the Don't Unfriend Me hotline. Who do you want to talk to? Nope. See? So easy.
Is that?
We're getting spammed because they get butthurt and they can't make intellectual arguments, so they want to call and go ahead and yell and scream and spam the lines, and It's a blast. It's fun. So you obviously have an external threat. There's probably been threats on his life. This has been increasing. But it's just an interesting thing to watch, and it's an interesting thing to take a look at, because DC doesn't put up gates for any old reason.
Right.
Unless there's an election, or, you know, they want to keep them up for a half a year because of 9/11. Hey, you've reached the Don't Unfriend Me show. What do you want to talk about? Nope. Jimmy Kimmel is coming on back on air.
Oh boy.
And have you been tracking this a little bit?
I have. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show. I never found this to be censorship to begin with. And honestly, it's no skin off my nose because I never watched the guy to begin with.
Here's Nextstar's statement. Irving, Texas, September 23rd, Nextstar Media Group. Oh, Mel, thank you for the donation, 2110. I didn't see we hit over it. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mel.
Leeroy can buy more donuts, and I can work on some more protein shakes for me. And protein shakes really come from Leeroy as well, so it's all good. I just get filled up both ways, and they have a sweet glaze taste to them. Pastor Jack, I'm sorry. I'm so very, very sorry. News, Nextstar Media Group Incorporated today announced that the company's owned and partner television stations affiliated with ABC Television Network will continue to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live. We made a decision last week to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live following what ABC referred to as Mr. Kimmel's ill-timed and insensitive comments. I don't care about those. Pending the decision and assurance that all parties are committed to fostering an environment of respectful and constructive dialogue. This sounds like left wokeism to me. Why can't you just say that he lied and it's against the rules of the FCC on public broadcasting, and they will be officially regulated and enforced, and he owes an apology, blah, 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 blah.
This isn't very dissimilar from what happened the other day in the press room, when they basically told all of the pressers to either straighten up, right, or you won't be invited back into the White House. This is not that dissimilar. Like, stop lying, stop abusing your right to free speech and free press by just saying whatever the hell you want for political points. Like, you have the absolute right to do it, and nobody's arguing that. But if you do so, you don't necessarily have to be put on network, and you don't have to be invited back to the White House. That's not oppression of free speech. That's just normal human behavior.
Yeah. Doxing is a federal crime. You should call the feds then. You should do that, considering what are you going to tell him? He said mean things. I know you guys get really upset when people say mean things. I didn't dox anybody. I didn't give anyone your phone number. I just said, would you like me to? I'm just letting you know I know who you are. And I'm just letting you know I have your information. That's all. Just giving you a heads up. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You guys like to do that. You guys dox people, SWAT people.
Sure.
You know. Yeah, so you guys can. It's a federal crime. Oh, so now you love government? Now you're going to call the police? I thought we wanted to. Thought we were going to defund the police, pussy.
I support the blue. All of a sudden.
Sorry, Pastor Jack. I apologize. All right, go ahead. You wanted to call? Go ahead.
Yeah. You guys had mentioned something really quick. By the way, you guys are hilarious. I really am enjoying the show.
Thanks.
That politicians are taking foreign money. How are they not required to register as foreign agents when the people that got in trouble working for the government or advocating and not declaring that they're taking foreign money?
That's the thing.
That seems like a huge red flag to me.
It is total red flag. You're absolutely right. It goes against FARA. It should go against ethics. But unfortunately, the key word that you said was declare, and they're declaring it.
Yeah.
That's how we get into the idea of shell companies and so forth. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, like Omar and other people, if they're taking whether it's China money or Jewish money or whatever it is, if they're a sitting politician, shouldn't they be barred from that? I mean, how can you be a politician for your country and then also be registered as a foreign agent or declaring it?
Yeah,
I mean, that just seems.
It's a good question.
Counter.
So let's go into it. So first of all, Checker and Chess. What's my address? You can find it. It's on my Facebook page. It's also in my bill of lading. You can look up Virginia. Commonwealth, you can look up that, my LLC. You can find my address. You can visit me anytime you want. You're not going to be the first one who tried, by the way. I get a lot of death threats. And I'll just tell you, your last comment is, I'm not black like you. I'm sorry. You might have a contrast problem on your Nokia phone from 1982, but buddy, I'm only black from the waist down, and if you don't believe me, just ask your mom. So,
hey,
by
those
the way,
Nokia phones last forever.
Yeah, and here's the thing, dude. I'm trying to be a better Christian, and you're fucking with my chi right now. I've been really good, and I've been really good
so
for like
zen at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, dude, I've been so good. I was listening to Christian music before I came on. I read a few passages. Leeroy's like, "Are you okay?" And you're messing with it, dude. Can you stop? Seriously. All right. I love these trolls. They're so fun. Yeah, I'm gonna call the feds. Narc. What a narc. All right.
Man. If only there were some feds on the show.
Oh, I know. Right. If only we knew the federal government. Is that an invite? Sure, dude. Anytime you think you're ready, just bring your lunch and a ladder because you're going to need the ladder. And when you wake up in the fucking hospital, you're going to be hungry. So whatever day you want, man. You want to get froggy any day that ends with Y.
You called us. We didn't call you.
Yeah, no shit. Nobody's calling your house, bro. Well, I did call your house because you're a gaping vagina.
Oh, that's true.
Who doesn't know how to block your number? So anyway, to answer your question, we would have to go back to something called Citizens United. And Citizens United basically states that corporations have free speech. And it's saying that money is speech. And by that, allowed political action committees, super PACs, and everything to go past the normal standard donation, which I think is like $2,500 per single and $5,000 per married. And I think you can actually do two of those, so it's up to $10,000. But corporations can put money into political super PACs and give money. And this is including AI PAC because it is Israel. It's not just Israel, by the way. AI PAC just doesn't represent Israel interests. It represents multiple interests in corporations. But it is wrong. I think Citizens United should be repealed. I actually agree with Democrats on this one. And we put it in place because what happened was we were being raised because the Democrats had so many damn people, but also owned when it came to celebrities who didn't have to register and could make large campaign contributions based upon the rules of California and New York and how their election fundraising happened. And we had to start taking money because they had Planned Parenthood dollars, they had the teachers union dollars, they had ungodly amount of money coming in from pharmaceuticals and hospitals and industries of that nature. So by implementing Citizens United, when they did, I think it was 2014. The Republicans were able to take money from big tobacco, NRA, and other large corporations and made that intake of money as speech. Now, I think the last three elections, Republicans have not needed a lot of money. In fact, they've spent a scintilla of what the Democrats have, $2 billion for Kamala, $1.5 billion for Hillary, and then Biden put $1.125. And Trump spent, a fourth of that. I think Democrats should remove it.
Trump is a marketing genius. I think he's a one-off and outlier. You're going to hard pressed to find another person that can do what he did.
Right. Real quick. I'm sorry, brother. I'm going to get your name too. Checker says, I'll come and we can replay this in court if you're assault me. First of all, you need to learn how to spell because you're not even be able to find me. Second, we have stand your ground law. So show up on my property and find out. Show up.
They try to take that away in California.
Yeah. I'm in Virginia, bro. You come on my property out here. You come into my town, a rabbit farts in my town, and I know about it. So good luck. You're not even going to be able to get to my front door.
What's this dude's name?
I don't know. Checkers and chess.
Checkers and chess.
I don't know. Might as well be butt plugs and anal piercings. Sure. I don't know. Whatever. Okay.
Sounds like a liberal educator.
He is right. He must teach at a local preschool. What's your first name?
My name's Isaac.
Okay, Isaac.
I'm from California. Don't hate me.
Now, what part of Cali are you from, brother?
Central Coast, so Monterey Bay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm from Ventura.
Oh, right on. Not too far.
Yeah, no, not at all. In fact, probably surf some of those areas. What's your political disposition? I assume you're Republican or moderate, or where are you at?
Well, because when you're born in California, they hand you a Democratic voting card at 18. But I've never really sat right with the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
They just keep getting far more left. And, you start out as one thing, and 20 years later, you don't change. But now they're calling you a fascist. I'm like, haven't changed.
Mm-hmm.
They're leaving me behind. So if anything, I'm a disenfranchised Democrat voter who hasn't voted Democrat in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's a different California than I was there. I was there from 1974 till about 88. And so it was just losing its Reagan allure and started to move into the Jerry Brown saga and the Tom Bradley and all that type of crap, and started getting the Democrats in there. By the way, if you come to my door, you're not going to have to worry about court. You're going to have more problems than that. So you might want to like stack your cards in the reverse order, go to court first before you decide to come to my front door. I'm just giving you some advice, dude. You know what I mean? And good luck. Your name, by the way, you don't have a first name, so I can't dox you. Your name is literally Checkers and Chess. And I can't, sir, my name is Checkers and Chess, and this guy threatened me. Retard.
You know, what's interesting, Isaac, is that if you go back and take a look at both the Democrat and the Republican Party platforms, say over the last 100 years, 150 years, one of them seems to stay pretty consistent, right?
Yeah.
They'll talk about things like the economy or you know, overall wealth of the nation, and the other one has just, it's all over the place. And in the last Democrat Party platform document that was released, they had mentioned Donald Trump's name something like 85 times within a 16-page document.
Right.
Yeah, and you wonder how that's not a psychosis or derangement. You know, how can one guy be that much of a threat? It's something that they buy into. I can tell you right now, I have family and friends that, you know, we've been adults for 20 years, and some of these people, they're wholesome people otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're business owners, they have employees, and then they leave the panel when it comes to President Trump. You know, all civility goes out the door, and I'm unaccustomed to someone calling me a racist. You know, I'm mixed myself. Mom's Irish, dad's Mexican, you know, and it's funny to hear people call out racism as a default response to, oh, you support Trump. I'm like, well, I don't want my president to fail, you know?
Right.
It's just interesting how California is getting. I think there was a big wake-up call with,
I do too.
You know, just recently with the loss of someone important, and then Trump getting elected, you know, there's battle lines politically are being redrawn, and it's interesting that Governor Newsom has offered a solution to gerrymander the state yet again, and it's very
not going to pass.
It's
not going to pass. It's not popular in Cali. It won't. It's not. It doesn't have the votes. It didn't have the votes in the last 3 times that they've tried to remove it. Democrats are desperate. They have no identity, and this is the question I was going to ask: is if Democrats are going to move to the middle, there is no more middle because Trump took the middle.
Right.
So they're gonna have to go back and take the somewhat far left versus, you know, staying in the leftism quadrant. There's just no options for them. They have pigeonholed themselves into obscurity, and there's nothing that they can do to get out of that.
I would say this, that you know, I don't even want to say it's regular Democrats. I want to say it's the far left. As a party, I think that the Democratic Party does a poor job of policing its more extreme members.
Yeah.
That because they're so inclusive. They're so inclusive. It's like if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing.
That's right.
It's
Charlie's line.
It's such a hard thing to like I said, to hear family and friends. You want to talk about a house divided, you know, brother against brother.
Right.
Luckily, I have 2 brothers, and we're all on the same page. You know. Politically, it's funny, and we're all, you know, I think the oldest and the youngest brother is 13 years, but it's, you know, we grew up all in the same environment, and just wondering, like, hey, you know, California is a pretty liberal place. How do you get 3 guys like us who are going against the mold? You know, we're not alone. You know, I come from an ag town, which is pretty salt of the earth stuff, but you know, everyone wants to come out and have the usual suspects for these are the problems of our society, and it's funny that you're not allowed to have the conversation.
Yeah, like,
you know,
it's interesting you said this. I put up this post here, and people didn't like it very much. And well, our side did. It was, the game was called Find the Nazi. And it essentially, Leeroy's like, well, that church is, perhaps you should go back. Listen, I'm trying, guys. I really am. But I told him, I said, even though I'm finding God, it doesn't mean I'm not going to bring the shit. I told him.
Hold on. You know that. Well, just you know that game you just talked about, Find the Nazi. You know the secret to the game is there's no wrong answers, right?
Well, in this case, there might be. Hold on. So, when it comes to the left, everyone's a Nazi. That's not a game, right? That's just like, where's Waldo? He's everywhere. So, but when it comes to religion, I was telling people on the Star Wars premiere, you can find the video on YouTube where the guy went to Phantom Menace and he was dressed as Han Solo and he's got a Chewbacca friend and Princess Leia's there and they're all ready to go see Phantom Menace and they're cosplaying and these, New York, New Jersey Turnpike, I smell like Axe body spray Guidos are like, dude, you effing pussies. And Han Solo starts running after the car, so they hit the e-brake, and all four come out. And he's like, you think because I'm dressed as Han Solo, I can't start some effing shit? Fuck you guys. You're in the wrong neighborhood. And, proceeds to, just bitch slap these guys. I kind of like to think of it, that's how my mentality is yes, I find God, and I'm going to be more a peaceful person. But if you want to get down in the dregs, I love to live there. Here is the questions in the game. Leeroy, you're playing against Isaac. There are no losers.
All right.
There are no losers. We're going to play Find the Nazi.
Wait, is this a little bit like if everyone is a fascist, then no one is a fascist?
No, not that. But this is good. Listen to this. Okay, first question goes to our guest, Isaac. Hitler praised abortion. Can you please tell me another political party that praises abortion?
You see, Margaret Sanger, what was her name? Democratic Party?
Democratic Party is the correct answer. 1 point goes to Isaac. Leeroy, next question goes to you. Hitler enforced gun control. Can you please tell me another party that enforces gun control?
Well, I'm going to go with the Democrats, Matt.
Wow, a dead heat after 2 holes. This suspense is killing me. Hitler controlled industry. Who else wants to control industry, Isaac?
Oh, man, this is a tough one.
It is. It's tough. Take your time. Phone a friend?
I'd call my dad, but, he went out for a smoke of cigarettes and never came back. So I'm just going to go with the Democrats.
I like this guy.
Democrats, yeah.
Democrats is correct for an answer. If you want to tie this up, Leeroy, here it is. The next question. Hitler censored speech. What other party likes to censor speech?
I'm going to go Democrat, Matt.
That's correct. Bonus question. Hitler implemented nationalized health care. Who wants to buzz in quickly? Isaac.
Buzz. It was Barack Obama. Democrats.
That's correct. Democrats. Here's another one. Hitler indoctrinated children. Who else indoctrinates children? Leeroy?
Gonna go with transgender Democrats, man.
That's right. You actually, if you can spell transgendered, you'll have a bonus point. Hitler controlled education. Let's just go through the rest quickly. Hitler controlled education. Hitler banned opposing political parties. Hitler silenced churches. Hitler expanded government power. Hitler persecuted Jews, and Hitler was a vegan. If you pick Democrat,
thing.
Yep. Now
I legitimately did not know that. That's
Hitler
funny.
100% was a vegan. Now, last part. We know that Democrats aren't Hitler, but you keep calling us Hitler. And if you're going to, I've told people this 100 times. If you're going to sit here and say that I'm Hitler, I'm going to turn around the mirror and put it on you. It was called for bonus points. What does Nazi stand for?
National Socialist Workers Party, something like that?
That's correct, my friend. For the bonus, I'm going to have to give this round to Isaac. Although Leeroy knew all the answers.
I want a recount.
We don't do recounts. That's actually fascist. So we don't believe in that. You just have to accept the winner no matter what happened in the middle of the night. You just have to embrace it.
I just have to trust the bigger party, the bigger.
You have to trust big government. Yes, that's the right answer.
There was a point dump at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Isaac, you get a final minute. It's a staple on the Don't Unfriend Me show. We're gone after this. So you get a final minute. Say what you want to say, whatever. You can give us accolades and say how great we are. That's wonderful. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Other than being right, you guys are also entertaining, which is, better than listening to Mark Levin. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, he's getting a little long in the tooth, isn't he?
I'm just saying, I can tune in for 30 seconds and I'm out. So I really enjoy listening. This is the first time I've actually caught the show live. I was just I just happened to be flipping through my phone. I saw it and I go, I'm going to call in.
Good, man. It was a fun call.
Nice.
I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you didn't scream in our ear and shout obscenities. And those people, they can call back if they want to. And
yeah, no, I'm good. I have a mom. What are you talking about?
But you didn't. Your dad never came back, and we feel sorry for that. That's not good.
I could have been a Democrat, but then they found out my parents were married.
You guys are
all right. You guys take care, man. You guys have a great night.
See you, buddy. Have a good one. All right. Listen, there is a video I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but it is up on the Facebook page. It's doing very, very well, and it's Olivia's first solo video. Now, you guys remember last night we talked about this on the show, and I told you she was feeling a little trepidatious, and she wants to start cutting her own videos. Well, she did that. Kinda. She had a rant on our live show last night that went very, very well. And it was on Brian Krasenstein, and it's doing well. I haven't checked it lately, but I'm assuming it's still crushing. And on its own merit, I think it was close to 10,000 views. Had quite a few likes. If you have not had a chance, go watch it and give it a like. I think it's a really good take from Liv. People are saying she was very eloquent and polished, and I think she takes Krasenstein down to task. And if we can get her to see that she does a good job on this, I think we can get more of these things. And that would make my work life a little bit less hectic. So please help out and do what you can. Leeroy, you have last word, or at least your minute. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups.
No, you're good. So it's been better than a week and a half since I've been on. And I got to tell you, I love when we have that chemistry and when we have a lot of energy and the show flows really well. This was really, really fun for me. There's a level of catharsis that happens for me during these shows. That being said, the people that called in that were just absolutely trying to shut everything down, you're never going to get that. Not here.
You're not going to win.
But for the people that called in and wanted to have genuine conversation, please keep that up. Don't even care if you disagree with us. I just want to have the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And beyond that, thank you to everyone who donated again. Thank you so much. That is what keeps the lifeblood of this show going. So thank you.
Yeah. And listen, I just wanted to thank, it was a great show last night with Amy, and it was loads of fun. And Leeroy, I generally love our Thursdays and Tuesdays. They're fun. And thank you for you being here. And I like our flow a lot more. I've realized that I've had to kind of change some things up. There are times when I go way too much, and tonight was one of them because we had a caller in. But I think like Lawrence is kind of like my guy, so I kind of felt like but you did a great job, and you had a good time, and I could tell, and that's what we're going to do on Thursday. Damani's here on Thursday. If you're going to be in town,
hell yeah,
and you can be here, you should see Damani. It'll be a fun show.
All right, I will plan on being here. So.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Hope you enjoyed the extra overtime. 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Please go onto Facebook, like what you saw, and make sure you like this before you leave. We got 148 on, 147 likes. I know we can increase that a little bit. God bless and take care of yourselves. Leroy, I'll see you Thursday, babe.
Love you guys.
Peace
out.
Bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leeroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.